If you've ever found a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And if you haven't, hopefully we find one here today. But it is St. Patrick's Day. Welcome, everybody. I hope you have your green on. I know I got my green on, multiple layers and shades of green. Just throwing it out there. Hopefully you have it. If not, if you did not wear green today, hopefully somebody in your life pinches you, because apparently that's the tradition. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook, the St. Patrick's Day edition, kicks off here today. We have some news for you. The Fed meeting kicks off. As Crispy Biscuit is saying here, the play-in for the NCAA tournament starts here today. So lots of stuff to go through. We've got Anne-Marie coming on today. It's a T3 Tuesday. Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook, the special St. Patrick's Day edition, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday evening. We are back here. It is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. It is indeed St. Patrick's Day, one of my favorite days of the year. Actually, this week with the tournament is one of my favorite weeks of the year, too. We're still covered in snow here in Chicago, but the snow and the cold weather is not going to dampen the warmth of this market. We are going to have a good day here today. I can promise you that. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Corey is going to check in first here today. Good morning. May today be blessed beyond measure. Let's start the day off with positivity like that every single day. I can sign up for that, Corey. Great to have you back. Great to see you. Good morning. And congrats on being first here today on St. Patrick's Day. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. EKS, great to see you again. Happy St. Patrick's Day indeed. Great to see you again as well. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Happy St. Patrick's Day indeed. Astro Kev, all those NVIDIA partner announcements after hours yesterday. Tech market could take off. Indeed, it could. And actually, in the news block here, I have quite a bit coming from that NVIDIA GTC conference. That's the GPU Technology Conference, by the way. So indeed, we're going to be breaking down that news, and I'm sure we're going to be looking at NVIDIA and other tech stocks during the session here today. Ivan, good morning. Good morning to the Benzi gang. We'll be away for the start, but I'll come back in an hour. We'll keep the seat warm for you, boss. Probably not there, but help me out. Keep Ivan's seat warm here. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Robert, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Producer, good morning. Thanks for all you do on a regular basis, producer. Brian, good morning. Happy Green Day Drink Excuse Day. I'm Irish. Don't get mad. I am not going to get mad. We don't really get mad around here, or at least we try not to. This is an excellent excuse to drink a green beer. And I am half Irish. So ain't nobody getting mad. We're all happy. Great to have you here, Bri. And let me know. Let me know what green drink you have here. Cad Monkey, good morning. Dive Deep, good morning. Lost Penny, good morning. What's going on with retail? What's up with waste management stock? Well, we're human garbage machines, so waste management's going to keep going up over time. What's going on with retail stocks? Well, they've been popping on earnings and then fading. That's key because we've got Lululemon earnings here today. Will that pop and fade? Is anyone playing it for earnings? Nice to get the conversation kicked off, Lost Penny. Blessing. Hope today is going to be a good day. Hope no more. It is definitely going to be a good day. You're here. We're all here. Vibes are high. We are going to make it a good day. Happiness is a choice, folks. Durkis, good morning. Welcome back. Lost Penny saying, does anyone going to get a room temperature Guinness? For those of you that are in Ireland, have a pint for me. I hear that the Guinness, especially if it's room temperature in Ireland, just tastes different than everywhere else. So if you're fortunate enough for that, be sure to have one for me today. Marionette, good morning. Radio check, 1, 2. What is this? Good to have you back here, Marionette. Austin, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Carlos, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, let the cat out of the bag. It is indeed my birthday. That's the other thing. So I'm half Irish and born on St. Patrick's Day. Luck of the Irish, baby. That's what's going to be flowing here today. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Jay Harris, good morning. You know what, Jay Harris, you just said good morning. I'm adding Broadcom to the list of stocks we're looking at here today. Good morning and welcome back, boss. Bernhard, good morning. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Marionette, I appreciate that. Richard Judge, appreciate that as well. Ethan, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. And indeed, go USA. What a game yesterday from Venezuela and Italy. We've got the championship tonight. Let me just say, as a baseball fan, my entire life, grew up going to Wrigley Field with my dad taking me to games during the day. I absolutely love what the World Baseball Classic has become. This stuff is exciting. Those players care, and the product on the field is awesome. Just absolutely awesome. Go USA here tonight. Been very, very exciting. Who am I missing here? Brian, thank you. Appreciate it. I will absolutely enjoy the day. I get to start my day with you folks. Hard to have a bad day when that's the case. We'll be honest with you. JJ, good morning. Will we have any 600% runners? Well, we'll see. We'll break down some of the runners for you. Too early to tell if one's going to be a 600% though. Jane, good morning. It's good to see you as always. Megha, good morning. Welcome back. Robot to Trade, good morning. Welcome back. Jonas says, speak for yourselves. I stay mad. LOL, but then good morning. We're not going to be mad, but good morning. I'm glad to have you here. Graf, good morning. Welcome back. Robot to Trade. Yes, it is St. Patrick's Day. Welcome. Jeff, good morning. Welcome back. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Linda, good morning. Knights Lance, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Good to see you. And Marty, good morning. Good to see you. Schwarber's bat. Let's hope it's cracking here tonight. Maybe a Lance Bregman, home run. That would be something else. All right, folks, let's go ahead and dive right into the market. Don't forget to smash up that like and subscribe button. And you know what? If you have an extra account, maybe give us an extra like today. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's my birthday. Let's get those things jacked as we can. Let's get started with our stock market today. Or the All right, we are trying for green arrows in the pre-market here on St. Patrick's Day. Not quite there yet. S&P futures here up off the lows and down 0.04%. So we are looking at a possible red-green here. Let's hope that we get that. The Dow, all gas, no brakes. It is up 0.05% here, so we do have some green arrows ahead of the open. NASDAQ down 0.19% here. That too is up off the lows and trading higher. All right, let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Oh, I don't know why I have ads here. That shouldn't be the case. Cues from last session here. Information technology, consumer discretionary, and communication services stocks recorded the biggest gains on Monday and led all S&P 500 sectors to a positive close as U.S. stocks settled higher with the index gaining around 1% while oil prices pulled back. President Trump said on Tuesday that the mortgage levels have reached the lowest level in 5 years, adding that the cost of a new mortgage is down by $5,000 after he signed the executive order aimed at deregulating the U.S. mortgage market last week. Meanwhile, on Monday, countries like Germany, Spain, and Italy rejected President Trump's call to deploy naval forces to open the Strait of Hormuz, citing a lack of authorization from the United Nations and NATO. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.23%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.86%. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one is going to be Uber. The ticker on this is UBER, and it was up 2.11% in the pre-market on Tuesday after the ride-hailing giant and NVIDIA announced an expansion of their autonomous vehicle partnership, and we'll dive into that here a little bit more in a sec. The next stock on our list is going to be Comtech Telecommunications. The ticker on this one is CMTL, and it dropped 9.64% after posting mixed results for the second quarter after the closing bell on Monday. The next stock on our list is going to be a big one. This is Lululemon. Ticker is LULU, and it was up 0.66% as analysts expected to report earnings of $4.78 per share on revenue of $3.59 billion after the closing bell today. The next stock on our list is going to be Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, and the ticker on this one is RYTM. It fell 4.3% as it announced that the phase 3 trial of an obesity drug did not meet its primary endpoints. The last stock on our list is going to be Cisco Systems. The ticker is CSCO, and it was 0.63% lower, even as it expanded its secure AI factory with NVIDIA to enable scalable edge to data center AI deployment with enhanced security. All right, let's take a look at the chart here. Let me go ahead and add that watermark so it's easier for you folks to see what chart we are looking at. Let me also get my time frame presets loaded here so we can easily switch between all of these charts. And let's also get back to SPY here. All right. So still in this phase where I think we're coming into the 200. I want to see that, and perhaps it's my own bias getting in the way here. But yesterday, we traded back up, and we could not, although we tried to really test 672, we could not get above the top end of this support area and previous resistance area that we have broken out from. What I'm looking to see here is what happens the rest of the week. My thought is that we probably see a little bit of a low volume day here today as investors await the Fed meeting tomorrow. Again, it starts today, but we get the information tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit of a risk off day here today. And then tomorrow, we'll see what happens. Again, the outcome of that meeting widely anticipated. And then Thursday and Friday, the big dance starts and the volume is going to dry up around midday when the games start. So I'm not really sure what to expect this week. Maybe we kind of just hold here or hold in this range. But I think inevitably we are going to test this 200-day. And I'm not necessarily making a big call. I mean, we're a stone's throw. We're 12 points away from the 200-day value as we sit here in the pre-market. We're a lot farther away from 700 and new all-time highs, which I think is really the other option. Maybe we chop around here a little bit. Maybe this week is kind of a non-event, although we'll wait and see how that plays out. But I think ultimately we're still going to roll over and test this 200. We talked about this in happy hour quite a bit, and I was encouraged, I suppose, to see a lot of price targets that were kind of beneath this 200-day moving average level. That value, by the way, 659.37. We had some folks looking for as low as 580 yesterday, but more specifically right around the 620 to 630 area. So if we do pull back here on SPY, we find some support, perhaps that can set up the next leg higher once we reach one of those support areas. But we'll see what happens. We're looking at the exact same areas we were looking at yesterday, the most immediate, the 667.34 to 673 area. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. And you know what? Let me go back. Let me make sure I'm logged into my account here. Maybe someone's playing a trick on me here in on my birthday. Let me make sure I'm logged in here so we don't have to deal with any ads. LPL Research maintains a resilient outlook for the U.S. economy despite the ongoing geopolitical uncertainty and the conflict in the Middle East. While oil prices have spiked due to a blockage of the Strait of Hormuz, chief economist Jeffrey Roach notes that the U.S. is, quote, much less reliant on foreign energy than it once was, end quote. Remember, we've covered this quite a bit here. The big problem is the refining capacity. Shout out to 13, who's done a great job talking about that and outlining plays that could be effective for that. This structural shift, with the U.S. acting as a net exporter since 2020, suggests that the current oil shocks, quote, should not significantly alter the path of growth and core inflation in the longer run, end quote. Again, this plays into why the length of the conflict is far more important than any other aspect of it. Regarding the stock market, LPL's Strategic Tactical Asset Allocation Committee, what an awesome name, STAC with 2 A's, holds a tactical neutral stance on equities. Rather than retreating during volatility, the committee is looking for opportunities to potentially add equities at lower levels. Now, I'm thrilled about this. I'm thrilled that LPL is saying the same thing, but our guest here today for T3 thrives on volatility. Couldn't ask for a better guest here today. Within the domestic sectors, they maintain an overweight position in communication services and recently upgraded industrials due to strong earnings momentum and AI-driven investment. And again, we're going to have a lot of AI stuff to talk about given NVIDIA's GTC conference yesterday. Where the labor market weakening remains a risk, LPL expects the Federal Reserve to, quote, likely cut rates twice later this year, end quote, as inflation gradually moves towards the 2.2% target. A lot of talk here that we might not be able to reach the 2.2% target. Maybe 3 to 4 is the new range. We'll see where we end up going. Also, there are some banks out there that don't think we're getting 2 rate cuts. I think we might only get 1. This year. So again, a lot of this is going to depend on how long the conflict lasts. I asked one of our very experienced happy hour members who has a lot of connections to Fed watchers. These are people that watch not only our Fed, but all of the central banks around the world. And I asked him, I said, central banks typically look through the oil price when they're making their decision here on inflation. They recognize that a lot of this is short term. And I said, isn't that the case? And he said, it's interesting because some of the other world central banks, although that is common practice for them, they're actually starting to consider it a little bit more. All that does is add significance to how long the conflict drags on. As far as the data, February's pending home sales report and March's home builder confidence index will be out by 10. Also, again, that Fed meeting kicks off, but we don't get anything on that until tomorrow. Now, let's talk about NVIDIA here. And actually, I'm going to start with the chart. One of the reasons is because we talked about this yesterday on Happy Hour 2, kind of an important day yesterday. And I say that because let me turn VWAP off. Here's the candle from yesterday. The move up, and we watched it here in the morning. In fact, we saw call sweeps on the back of the move higher. Several of you folks were clearly watching this right from the open. The candle yesterday ended up trading through the 20, the 50, and the 100, yet it couldn't close above any of those. And in fact, if we look inside intraday, this is what it looked like. So we were up in the pre-market. We ran out of the open. We kind of chopped around. We had a big move up towards 188, which we completely retraced, and then it actually went lower and then closed slightly lower from where we were trading a majority of the day. So that candle on the daily doesn't look all that great. Looks like we really didn't have the strength to push higher here. And if you take a step back and ask fundamentally, who's left to buy NVIDIA? Let me know. Let me know. This is one of the most owned stocks in every fund in the world, one of the biggest stocks in the world. Who's left to buy this thing? What is going to be the big catalyst that induces buying and drives the stock higher out of the current range that it's in? Well, maybe it came with some news from yesterday. Let's dive in. NVIDIA highlights a $1 trillion opportunity. Jensen Huang puts a 13-figure in reach. Here, didn't I log in? Let me refresh this. Be gone, ads. Thank you. Speaking at the NVIDIA GTC conference on Monday, CEO Jensen Huang provided more details on the company's AI chip demand and heightened revenue forecast for the future. Huang has been bullish on opportunities such as data centers and AI chips in recent commentary from quarterly results and conferences. None of those comments may compare to Huang saying the $1 trillion figure at Monday's event. Huang said he expects NVIDIA revenue to double to $1 trillion through 2027, which comes after the company previously guided for visibility of $500 billion for its AI chips. The new figure suggests demand for Blackwell and Vera Rubin chips could be even higher than the most optimistic bulls have been forecasting. NVIDIA's CEO highlighted the demand from hyperscalers such as Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon during the keynote. The comments come as competition in the AI chip space could be rising and as the technology sector has faced pressure over whether the continued high spending by companies on AI and data center platforms and tools will continue. Huang's call for $1 trillion may provide new life into NVIDIA's stock. We'll see who's left to buy. Still waiting for an answer there. Which is trading down year to date in 2026 as investors and analysts digest exactly what he meant and how revenue could play out in the future. NVIDIA has beaten analyst estimates for revenue in 14 straight quarters. Guidance from the company calls for first quarter revenue to be in a range of $76.44 billion to $79.56 billion versus a previous street estimate of $71.96 billion. Fiscal 2025 revenue for the company was $215.9 billion. That's up 65% year over year. Visibility of $1 trillion for AI chips could highlight the strong growth the company is likely to report in coming fiscal years. Anyone looking to buy and hold through earnings given this? Huang's keynote wasn't the only headline for NVIDIA on Monday. The company also announced an expanded partnership with Hyundai and Kia for autonomous driving built on NVIDIA's Drive Hyperion platform. Deals with Lyft and Uber were also highlighted on Monday. Uber is expanding an existing deal with NVIDIA and plans to launch a global fleet of vehicles powered by the tech giant. Self-driving vehicles from the partnership are expected to begin in Los Angeles and San Francisco in the first half of 2027. NVIDIA also announced the partnership with Adobe and T-Mobile, that's ADBE and TMUS, respectively. The company also highlighted several new products, including DLSS 5. And I know for the gamers out there, that one was probably pretty big. I'm excited to see what comes from that. GTC 2026 continues through March 19th, which could provide more opportunities for NVIDIA to highlight upcoming products and partnerships. We're not out of the woods yet. NVIDIA shares could be volatile through the end of the trading week, and indeed, we'll see how that holds up. Now, more news from this here. Jensen Huang calls robotics a $50 trillion industry. Boy, he's throwing around trillies like it ain't no thing yesterday. Stock really couldn't move on the back of it as NVIDIA and Disney bring the Frozen character Olaf to life at the GTC 2026. On Monday, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang underscored the massive potential of robotics while unveiling a real-world AI-powered Olaf in partnership with Walt Disney at GTC 2026. Really quickly, the last Olaf I remember was a special character from the old Super Nintendo game Rock and Roll Racing. And while I might be dating myself there, any of you that have played that game, you probably remember it. At this annual GTC conference in San Jose, California, NVIDIA showcased a collaboration with Disney that turned Olaf, the beloved snowman from the movie Frozen, into a real free-roaming robot. The cheerful character made a surprise onstage appearance alongside Huang ahead of its debut at Disneyland Paris on March 29th. Developed by Disney's Imagineering R&D team, the robot can walk independently and interact with its surroundings. The robotic Olaf runs on NVIDIA hardware and was trained using advanced simulation tools. Disney built a GPU-accelerated physics simulator called Camino using NVIDIA's RAP framework, which integrates into Newton Physics Engine. Newton, an open-source platform co-developed by Alphabet, Google DeepMind, and Disney Research, enables high-performance robotic simulations. These systems help Olaf manage heat and minimize noise while also allowing other robots like Disney's BDX droids to navigate complex environments. During the keynote, Huang also spoke about the scale of this opportunity. Robotics, $50 trillion industry and manufacturing, he said, adding that NVIDIA has spent a decade building foundational computing systems for robotics. Quote, we are integrated with, working with literally every single company that we know of building robots, end quote. So right there, we get a new company here that might also build robots. There's a potential that NVIDIA could at some point get involved. Huang added, noting that more than 100 robotic systems were showcased at the event. NVIDIA closed at 183.19. It was up 1.63%, but it slipped during the day as we covered. Now, another piece of news out of this, Tesla rival BYD, Geely to adopt NVIDIA's safe driving tech. Jensen Huang says everything that moves will be autonomous. Everything. NVIDIA has revealed that Chinese automaker BYD, again, the ticker on this one is BYDDY, and that is an OTC stock, and Geely Automotive Holdings, another OTC stock with the ticker GELYF, are among companies incorporating their technology into self-driving pursuits. In an official statement released on Monday following the GPU Technology Conference 2026, the chipmaker announced that in addition to BYD and Geely, Japanese automakers Isuzu and Nissan will also incorporate NVIDIA's technology. NVIDIA said that the statement that the automakers were, quote, developing next generation level 4AV programs, end quote, based on the company's Drive Hyperion production ready compute and sensor architecture. Besides the Drive Hyperion, NVIDIA also unveiled an updated iteration of the Alpha Mayo technology, which has been touted as a chat GPT moment for physical AI and AVs by NVIDIA. Alpha Mayo 1.5 enables vehicles to, quote, more effectively learn from rare or unpredictable events, which is a commonplace in driving, such as unusual road hazards and complex human behavior. I guess that's the nice way of putting idiots on the road. Adding that it has also enabled support for a multi-camera setup. Speaking on self-driving, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang predicted that, quote, everything that moves will eventually be autonomous, end quote, adding that the company's technology provided vehicles with the ability to perceive their surroundings, reason through complex situations, and act safely, making scalable level 4 autonomy possible, end quote. The news comes as ride-hailing platforms Uber and Lyft announced their partnership with NVIDIA, stating their plans to launch a global fleet of AVs powered by NVIDIA in the first half of 2027. Meanwhile, Tesla CEO Elon Musk recently said that the automaker will kick off its Terafab AI chip project, which will power the company's self-driving pursuits, with the upcoming AI 5 chip to be at the center of its full self-driving system. One more. How much time do we have? We got a couple of minutes before we get JR on here. CrowdStrike shares are down during Tuesday's pre-market session. On Monday, the company announced an expanded collaboration with NVIDIA, stop me if you've heard that before, to enhance its agentic managed detection and response capabilities. They abbreviate that as MDR. The collaboration also aims to leverage the NVIDIA Agent Toolkit, which is expected to accelerate investigations and improve triage accuracy in security operations significantly. Early internal testing of the Falcon Complete Next Gen MDR has shown up to 5x faster investigations and over 3x higher triage accuracy, indicating a substantial enhancement in operational efficiency. The partnership is designed to address the increasing challenges posed by adversaries using AI in cyber attacks, with CrowdStrike focusing on integrating advanced AI reasoning models into its security operations. The strategic move positions CrowdStrike to better manage high-volume workflows and enhance decision-making capabilities in real time. Daniel Bernard, Chief Business Officer at CrowdStrike, added, quote, the future of managed defense isn't adding more analysts. It's embedding AI agents directly into SOC operations to give analysts superpowers. With Falcon Complete Next Gen MDR, we are applying advanced reasoning models to automate investigations and triage while maintaining expert oversight. Together with NVIDIA, we're accelerating the shift towards agentic MDR, end quote. Apart from this, CrowdStrike introduced a secure by design AI blueprint in partnership with NVIDIA, embedding Falcon platform protection directly into NVIDIA's open shell. This architecture adds native security to the AI agent stack, allowing organizations to deploy autonomous systems safely with full governance, visibility, and control throughout development and runtime. Last week, CrowdStrike penned a deal with Perplexity AI to integrate the CrowdStrike Falcon platform with the Comet Enterprise AI browser. Folks, I hope you're taking notes because we're going to have a test on all of the little words at the end of the show here. Just kidding. The opt-in integration will add real-time threat detection, governance, and data protection to AI-driven workflows inside the Comet Enterprise. The integration adds real-time data security to Comet Enterprise AI interactions, enabling visibility into sensitive data and enforcing policies to prevent unauthorized sharing without disrupting productivity. CrowdStrike stock is currently trading 3.9% above its 20-day simple moving average, but it's 10.4% below its 100-day, which indicates short-term strength while struggling in the longer term. The combination of neutral RSI and bullish MACD suggests mixed momentum. We have a key resistance area of 487 and a key support of 374.50. And as far as analysts go, they're looking for an EPS estimate of 69 cents. That's actually down from 73 cents. They're looking for revenue of 1.36 billion. That's up from 1.1 billion. And they're looking for a forward PE of 386. Wow. Morgan Stanley has recently upgraded to overweight. They raised their price target to 510. That came on March 10th. Citigroup is at a buy. They lowered their price target to 525. That was from March 5th. And DA Davidson is at a buy. They raised their target to 455. That again is from March 4th. And then as far as some of the ETF exposure here, you have the First Trust NASDAQ Cybersecurity ETF. That's CIBR. It's got a 6.85% weighting in that. Amplify Cybersecurity ETF, that's HACK. That's the one that we look at often here. It's got a 4.95% weighting. And then the Global X Cybersecurity ETF, or BUG, it has a 5.66% weighting there. Now, because CrowdStrike carries such a heavy weight in these funds, any significant inflows or outflows of these ETFs will likely force automatic buying and selling of the stock. And that's why we highlight a lot of these when we're talking about some of these bigger companies that are part of these ETFs. Okay, I think I got time for one more here before we get to JR. JR, let me know if you're ready. And I'll knock this story out here real quick. Morgan Stanley's chief U.S. equity strategist, Mike Wilson, claims the broader equity market correction is nearing its end. But his recent warning that memory stocks have cooled off stands in stark contrast to their actual breakneck performance. Now, first of all, the whole part about the market correction here is one thing. We've been talking about possible seasonality flipping. Maybe that will impact the broader market and some of these individual stocks. Looks like Mike Wilson's timeline is aligned with that. During his latest market commentary, Wilson explained that Wall Street been digesting underlying risks for months. He noted that while the market previously saw concentrated returns in areas like emerging markets, industrial metals, and memory stocks, the landscape has recently shifted. Quote, more recently, the dollar has rallied and these same areas have noticeably cooled off, end quote. He further cautioned investors to prepare for a final downdraft or a capitulatory shock, potentially triggered by a hawkish Federal Reserve policies, backward-looking inflation concerns, or escalating global conflicts. Well, I'm going to say this. I just finished telling you how I think the rest of this week is going to be fairly low volume. I hope we don't get this capitulatory pullback while the tournament is going on. That's just going to muck everything up. Let's hope we avoid that. Despite Wilson's assertion that memory storage sector is cooling, current market data tells a radically different and highly lucrative story for shareholders. SanDisk is leading the charge. We look at it every day here. The pure play flash memory powerhouse boasts a staggering 19.52% gain over just the last 5 days and an explosive 196.42% year-to-date return. Over the past 12 months, SanDisk has skyrocketed an astonishing 1,183.53%. Micron firmly mirrors the bullish momentum, defying any signs of a slowdown. Micron posted a 13.48 5-day leap and remains up over 338% for the trailing 1-year period. A really good breakdown here of some of the memory stocks here as well. I'll go ahead and drop this article in the chat there for you. The aggressive market momentum extends beyond two primary frontrunners. Legacy data storage titans are also riding the undeniable wave. Western Digital and Seagate Technology, that's WDC and STX respectively, have posted solid 5-day returns of 9.22% and 6.53%. Furthermore, both companies maintain a massive triple-digit 1-year gains, completely contradicting the narrative of a sector-wide pullback. Maybe he's early. Wilson urged investors to, quote, be ready and add risk in anticipation of the bull market resuming, end quote, once the broader market hits its definitive low. Worth noting, he didn't mention what that definitive low might be. However, for investors closely tracking the memory space, the data suggests the expected pullback never materialized, and the sector is actively rewarding those who are already invested. And indeed, when you take a look at any of these memory stocks, I tell you what, the buy the dip has probably been the strongest in these. Every time these stocks trade down, and I mean every time for the last 2 years, the dip gets bought and gets bought quickly. Here's a picture of SanDisk. Sure looks like it's flashing a breakout to the upside here today. We'll see what we get. It's also worth noting here, we do have a very small gap below. So a pullback that accelerates through the gap. Maybe we get the 20-day moving average, although I don't think so. All right, folks, I told you there was a ton of volatility. I have the perfect guest for you here today. It is a T3 Tuesday, and we're going to go ahead and bring on our T3 guest, J.R. Romero. Let's give him a warm welcome. JR, man, it looks like a Cypress Hill concert in there. I can barely see through whatever lighting effect.
I know. I've got. I need to get better blinds. I'm sorry. I look like one of those. I look like one of those anonymous whistleblower videos.
Where like your face is blacked out. Do we have your voice altered? Are you okay? Okay, there.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
It's just that light. Okay.
I need to get the lighting fixed. I'm sorry about that. How are you?
It's quite all right. I'm doing good, man. It is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's my birthday. I got a lot of happiness going on in the chat here, so I appreciate that. We're doing really good. But I'll tell you what, I'm doing better now that you're here. Do you want to share your screen by chance?
Sure. Let me do that. Let's
once you share your screen, this will be a thing of the past here. We'll be focusing on the stocks.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Oh, look at that. Absolutely it is. We cleared out the smoke, if you will. All right.
Improvise and overcome. There we go.
That's what we do here. That's what the market forces us to do as well. Look, the last time that you were with us, you ran through a whole bunch of stocks and you were talking about how volatility, you want to make this your friend. I can't think of a better environment to be in. We still see a bunch of this volatility, and I'm hoping that we can run through some of the stocks that you're looking to trade here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a wild few months since the October 10th tweet from President Trump heard around the world, and it's caused a massive amount of volatility in markets where we see 110 110 point, sometimes 200 point S&P moves in a day, back and forth. It's been a market where if you're not by the way, how do I share my screen?
There's the share button. It's the middle button in the series of buttons that's in the studio. Looks like a little screen with a plus icon on it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a complete troglodyte when it comes to these things. Engineering major and troglodyte. Go.
Oh, and that was my, oh my goodness, producer. What am I doing? I'm sorry, JR. I'm struggling here. That was totally my fault. Let me go ahead and share your screen. Oh man, it's super wide. Okay, that looks like just a screenshot. All right, what do you got for us?
Oh, that's weird. So my screen is all flattened out. It's like a pancake.
Yeah, it looks very difficult to see.
Let's try that again, shall we?
And thank you, folks, for all of the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Jane, 3D, Sober. Appreciate all of you out there. And thank you, Lion. I hope that you'll be nice today. We could use that.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second here. It's this is odd. Let's give me 1 second. Anyways, I'm going to start talking here, and we'll get this fixed in 1 second. We're going to get this fixed. It's okay. So it's been a wildly volatile environment. This has been one of the most challenging and yet rewarding environments to trade I've seen in my entire trading career. I've been in the markets since 1997, full time since 2003, and the unique characteristic of this market has really been the ability. Can you see my screen now?
There we go. There we go. We got a chart now.
We have charts. It's been the ability to time markets and time the rhythm of the market that's been so important, right? So we've had last time I was on, I was calling for a rounding top in the market and a liquidation break under 67.50 or so, and we're getting there slowly. It's been a lot of back and forth. It's been a very difficult market to short. Obviously, it's been a difficult market to long. And what I tell my traders is to really ignore the indices for now and focus on the stories. Focus on the narratives that have been so explosive. So it's been a whole lot of Micron, a whole lot of SNDK,
Yep.
and a whole lot of following the real strong catalysts. The 2 weeks before the Iran invasion, I warned my room. I said, look, if you're short crude, now it's probably time to exit your positions. We're going to see $120 a barrel before this is all over. I think we tagged like 119.84. The silver trade has been explosive. The key to surviving this market is really preparation and market awareness, understanding where we're at within the price cycle, and understanding, really being very cued in terms of what the catalysts for the day are and what the stories are for the day. You could be chopping around the Qs all day long, or you could be catching 50 points in SNDK. It's up to you, but it's really a tale of two markets. What we do in our room is specialize in finding what's hot for the day, and really making sure that we're focusing on that and just that. Because if you're trying to trade the indices here, it can be extremely challenging. If you're a one-trick pony, you're getting punished when things are choppy, and they're choppy very often. So we've really been focusing on narrative. We've been focusing on making sure that we're timing the market correctly. A lot of these moves are made in the futures markets after hours, and then if you're caught on the wrong side, if you're not fading the market, because it's been a really strong mean reversion market, you're often on the wrong side of the tape. So we're specializing in making sure we have key S&P and NASDAQ levels all day long for our futures traders, and making sure that we're really cued in to the right stories, right?
Can we start right there with the SPY and NASDAQ levels, or the S&P and NASDAQ levels? What key levels do you have today?
Okay, sure. We can do that. I can do that for you. Coming right up with a side of fries, sir. So let's see, October 10th. Let's go to the October 10th. Let's profile the market together real quick. So this has been, we've had a steady point of control around 68.52. And you'll notice here that on the daily, we've just been riding the 80 MA lower, or the 5 SMA lower, I guess, whatever, the fast moving average lower every single day. So this has been one of those markets where you really have to be aware of the high volume nodes in the market, and then basically if you're fading the market off these big moves in the futures, you can catch some really decent upside moves. We got value area low around 67.82, and every single morning where we gap down, my futures traders are making a real strong living, just fading the moves higher back to value, back to fair value around 67.80. Until this market breaks lower, that's going to be the trade they're engaged in. So every time the market gaps down, they're fading the move higher, they're fading the move higher, they're fading the move higher. So that's been what my index traders are doing, and they've been doing really, really well doing that. As far as my silver traders, it's all been about watching the structure and the silver futures, and making sure they're properly mapping their demand zones, and that's been a really profitable trade for them. So right here, for example, silver, we have the documented buy zone right there on 80 spot 115, 80 spot 05, and there's been a beautiful mean reversion trade to 85. So we're still seeing accumulation in silver around that level. Gold has also been a really strong trade once it gets over 50-50. And those are the little key levels in those instruments that we've just been mapping and taking advantage of every day. And then watching structure on stocks like SNDK. When people were shorting SNDK down here around 540, on the break of 570, I was telling my traders, guys, this is like a phase C shakeout. Market makers are going on an inventory run. This is a long to 1,000, And you can see here, if you're more traditional Wyckoff style trader, you can see your buying climax here, your retest, secondary test, and this is kind of like a facey shakeout. And so, I was telling my SNDK traders here, go long through 580 because you're going to see a sign of strength through the top of a fair value around 654, and once we have price acceptance over that level, it's a straight shot to 720. And that's exactly what we got in the past 2 days. So we've been really focusing very heavily on these memory storage names. The story is hot. The catalysts are coming in every single day with price target revisions, and news of additional fabs, additional capacity. And I don't think this story is going anywhere anytime soon. So SNDK and Micron have been both gold mines. The problem is most traders don't understand the basic price cycle. So they're getting short near the lows on breaks of anchored VWAPs. I think without a full understanding of the fact that these levels are really buy zones. I can't tell you how many traders I've seen in other newsletters, friends of mine who have been trying to short Micron and SNDK since, I don't know, probably January, and have gotten stomped every single time. This is a reaccumulative demand zone here, and the likelihood of us making an entire 200 to 300 point measured move in Micron and 350 point, 400 point measured move in SanDisk are extraordinarily high. So we're seeing all the signs of a secondary breakout here in both of these names. And when the markets are dull, I was always told never short a dull market.
Indeed.
More importantly, to focus on the hottest story, the hottest catalyst, and the stock's giving you the highest beta and volatility. And these names have been it.
Indeed. So it sounds like you're on the opposite side there of Mike Wilson, who thinks these names are cooling off. Sure doesn't look like it.
That's not what the chart says.
That's not what the chart says. Indeed, folks, experience real-time momentum trading with J.R. Romero from March 23rd to March 27th. QR code there at the top of the screen. We can throw the link in the chat. QR code's also in the center of the screen there. So just go ahead and scan that. Okay, I want to circle back really quickly to your talk there on the metals. Is it your thought that the metals trade is still on? In other words, this is maybe a kind of a cooling off period before we see another move higher on either silver or gold? Or are you kind of just focusing more on some of these memory names and kind of moving away from that metals trade?
So I don't like to trade. I don't like to trade the consolidations. I like to trade the breakouts. So, for example, I'll bring up gold on the weekly. So, I kid you not, we were calling for a 2,000 point move on gold back here in January of 2024, and we've been riding this dragon since then. Now, gold is in a consolidation phase, and it's going to need several weeks here to find a stronger bid, to find a key level of demand that's going to catch a bid and build a new, as Wyckoff would say, a new cause where we find a real demand to supply a balance to push it higher. I'm looking at 6,250, 6,500 in gold, but it's going to take a few more weeks to build that base. Silver, to me, which was obviously a much more climactic move, is going to need some more time. Basically, I need to see silver over 88, and I need to see a one final shakeout in the market before it goes. If you guys like following Twitter, I'm at Picard Trades on Twitter, like Captain Picard. And when silver starts to move, I post a daily chart with levels on that. But essentially, the enormous demand for silver, which is as of yet unfulfilled, I think is going to drive silver through 150 this year in the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Now we're in a consolidation zone, and there's a range to trade here, about $8. But I like to catch these big base breakouts for 30, 40, 50 points.
Sure. So, okay. So you think there is a bigger move, but not right yet. It's kind of consolidating. That's
Yes.
really good. And then also really good coverage there in the memory stocks. I know as far as the tech names, those have been the real movers here, but sticking with more AI related tech. We did have NVIDIA's GTC conference yesterday. That's making a lot of noise. Are there any
$1 trillion call?
Yeah. So, do you have any thoughts on NVIDIA? Is it not volatile enough for you? Do you like Google instead? Are there any of those maybe? I want to call them popular tech names that you're looking to trade on a regular basis, or no?
So the Mag 7s have been pretty choppy and horrific to trade overall. That trade is dead for now. There are the entire sector in terms of the fiber optic transport stuff has been really hot. So we're heavily trading LITE and COHR and GLW, and I don't think these are done either. You've had some pullbacks here. We're waiting for a basis to mature so we can see secondary moves. I see a move. I see a 70-point measured move from GLW off the 132 handle to the 200 handle, but this is going to take a few more weeks. A few more weeks to go. So the AI trade, the way it seems to be working is because it's such a diverse ecosystem with so many moving pieces. The market seems to focus on one component at a time. And I'll bring up an example here. Yesterday we were day trading the NVIDIA was it the keynote speech by Jensen Huang, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got short at 185. We covered the 200, and then I told my traders, and we got like 500 people in there. I said the minute Jensen Huang mentions inference, you're going to see a 3 to 5 point pop, because that is what the market is looking for next, right? And so we're always looking in terms of the story of the narrative for those yet unfulfilled features and pieces of the AI ecosystem that the market is really interested in. So, you saw that big giant pop there for like 2, 3, 4 minutes there. You had a massive, well, for NVIDIA, it's massive, about a 5-point pop off the lows, and then a beautiful fade right back to the lows. So we traded this whole thing. It was fantastic. But I like to listen and watch carefully when Jensen talks, because you really get clues. You look, you get these little clues as to what the market is really, what the market is really looking for, based on what is said and how the market reacts. So that was a very interesting breakaway, breakaway in the price there, and it tells me that there's still a lot of interest in what NVIDIA can do in terms of their inference models, and I'm thinking that that's going to be the next big catalyst for NVIDIA, progress on that front.
Okay, and we still have a couple of days of that conference left, so maybe some more news will break from it. Good stuff here on NVIDIA. JR, is there anything else that we maybe missed here? Maybe a best play here for today, something you're looking at, something you're stalking to wrap it up with here?
Of course. So we've got LMND here, which is looking terrific. That's Lemonade. It's gapping off of, you had basically a little ascending triangle here, break of the 59 handle at the 200, and I'm looking for a move to 64.60 today. We also have AMPX. This is a beautiful high tide flag here, and AMPX, which only has one prior high. Amprius is looking phenomenal here, and I've got targets at 26 and 30. I think today you're gonna, as the closer we are to the Iran thing being over, the more likely you're going to see the airlines and the cruise lines run. So I think there's a trade in a swing trade for both airlines and cruise lines. PayPal is coming off of a little V-bottom on a platform here. I think this is bottom. I'm looking for a move back to 60. MSTR, the squeeze is coming. It's coming hard, fast and hard. Just got long today in the pre-market. I'm looking for 216 and Mr. there, as we like to call it. And Uber had really positive catalysts in their partnership with NVIDIA. The stock's been obviously heavily beaten up here, but if we get through 77.80, I see a quick move to 87 and $90 in Uber. So there's still opportunities in the market. I think we're going to see a big move in SNDK today again. I think the breakout is upon us. So there's plenty of stuff to do. I just tell my traders, focus on extreme strength or weakness. Do not get caught up in the market chop, because otherwise, you're just trading a very slow index by proxy, and that's a great way to get chopped up in this.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. Okay, JR, really good stuff here. Experience real-time momentum trading with JR Romero from March 23rd to 27th. You can scan the QR code there on the screen. JR, thanks for waking up with us. Thanks for fighting through some tech issues. Good luck here today. May the luck of the Irish be on your side. We'll follow up with you next time.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, take care. That is JR Romero from T3. Lots of good breakdown there on some of the stocks that we're looking at. And yeah, you heard it from him. He called a breakout there today in SNDK. So if you're looking to trade that, or if you're looking for a possible breakout, that might be a good one to trade as well. All right, we got just a couple of minutes here before 13 gets on, which means we're going to do a street tweet here. And then we will do ticker time until he shows up, and we will break down all of those movers. Let's go ahead and get started with street tweets. All right, first tweet here from the producer. This comes from First Squawk. OpenAI's top executives are finalizing plans for a major strategy shift to reduce the company around coding and business users. Okay, to refocus. I think I said reduce. I apologize. To shift to refocus around coding and business users. Now, this is interesting because we've talked a lot about how businesses might not yet be adopting this at full scale. Accenture came out recently and said, actually, to get promoted, you're going to need to use these tools. And by the way, we gave you enough time to get familiar with them, so get on it. And so it's interesting here that OpenAI looking like they're going to refocus the company around some of those business users. I think ultimately this is all going to depend on whether or not the products and services that they develop actually increase productivity as opposed to make the workday harder. I know just using Perplexity and Claude throughout my workday definitely make it easier, but there's still a level of scrutiny that must be required when dealing with business purposes. The other thing here around coding is this, again, and I've told the story a number of times, I am possibly the worst coder ever. I very much enjoy technology. I've been building computers since I was 12 years old. I'm very, very much into that, but I cannot code to save my life. These LLM models, these AI models, have actually made that possible. Not only do I have several of my own indicators, but I'm actually working on my own application as well. So this shift here, these plans, what this means, I think there are going to be a number of stocks, some of which we can't forecast, that are going to be big plays on this theme. Keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm extremely interested in any ideas that you folks have for this potential strategy shift. All right, let's get back to the chart here. First of all, let me just clean up a couple of, oops, I didn't put my chart up there. I guess I got to do that. A couple of things to clean up during the interview there. First of all, I absolutely loved the comment here. I love the back and forth that's going on with the metals. To me, the whole back and forth, this is what makes a market. And I think that as long as there is some of that back and forth, gold and silver are still going to be in play. However, I tend to agree with Day Trader. We might need to get a special cage match between Wendy's Tendies and Lion Atlas. I think that would be fun and would kind of give us a little bit of extra for the group here. We'll see how that all shakes out. Okay, welcome, Zach. It's great to see you. You said that you'd be coming back here, and we're happy to see that. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Y'all folks are making my birthday start off with a bang here, and I am all about it. So you're right, Cam. We actually need a schedule because Lion also has a fight that he has to do with Tim here first. Providing he survives that, then maybe we can schedule the one with Wendy's Tendies. Nonetheless, though, and all jokes aside, day trader, I guess I should be mature here and reference this. When I say that I like that there's opinions on both sides of things and that's what makes a market, this is what effectively I'm saying here. I love, perhaps more than anything, pros and cons of a thesis on both sides. I like to hear from both sides of people. That makes my understanding of whatever it is that we're discussing richer. And I feel like I do a better job. And when it comes to the market, I feel like I make more money if I'm more well prepared. So it's one of the reasons why I say we must keep things respectful here, but disagreements are okay and in a lot of cases encouraged. So just want to go over that. Thank you, Izzy. Yes, you're right. I'm 30 years old. Let's keep believing that, and let's keep telling others that as well. Much appreciated. Okay, I promised Jay Harris, even though it's my birthday, I promised Jay Harris we were going to look at Broadcom, so we're going to go ahead and start with that. 13 looks like he's ready, so actually I'm going to bring him on, and we're going to get 2x the opinion here on Broadcom. Y'all know what this means. Indeed, this is the start of the pre-market pulse. Good morning, 13. How you doing?
Good morning, Ryan, and happy birthday.
Much appreciated. It's going well so far, and I got to be honest, 13, I am absolutely thrilled to death that I see you wearing green here today. No pinches for you. You're safe. We're going to celebrate.
Well, I'm sorry to say it's not the kind of green you'd want me to wear, but it is the green that I chose.
Any green? Oh, I see. Okay.
Happy birthday, buddy.
You know what? First of all, I walked into that. Second of all, I'm impressed with how you did that. That was absolutely perfect. The green and gold here. We'll just focus on the green here today. 13, it's great to have you. Look, we're going to start here with Broadcom because Jay Harris is alive and breathing. So right. Broadcom is going to be the first stock that we're going to look at. Really, I know since we've looked at this before, really not a whole lot has changed. Where we had talked about really kind of trading around the 200-day moving average, we did make one push away from that where we had several green days in a row. And during that period, we were able to recapture some moving average lines like the 20 and the 50. But we got Mutombo'd at the 100. That sent us back down to the 200. That's basically right where we're at now. I know we're sitting on the 200-day moving average. To me, this thing, it's really been sideways since December of last year. Ultimately, I think this is going to go with the rest of technology. But where do you think this goes? And what do you see here on the chart besides the obvious compression that we're getting?
It looks to me like it's going to have another visit down at 300. Now, I don't know what the timeframes of these are going to be, but just look at the chart and the way things are shaping up. It looks like it could test 300 again. It hasn't been able to get back above the 20-week SMA. We lost it back on December, last week's December, and we've been unable to capture and hold above it since then. So we're getting pretty close to our 50-week SMA, which is going to be down near 300. So I certainly think that we could see a test of that. Whether we fall beneath that or not, I can't say for sure right now, but it does look like it's possible. Now, let's say that we do lose 300 and it starts to come in. There's some support levels on the way down. I do like the way that 280 stands out, but I think we're probably going to get a lot better support down around 350. That would be my my guess from if we lose 300 and it still looks like we're weak. To me, I think 340 to 350 might be a better spot for support.
Wait, if we lose
240, 250. Sorry,
that's okay.
Sorry, I meant 240, 250. So yeah, if we lose 300. 280 stands out as a support area. I don't know that'll hold. It looks to me like 240 to 250 is a better support area if we lose 300 and 280.
Okay, there you go. I like what you're saying here about the weekly too. I agree with your areas here. It's also worth noting that this 280 area ish This actually represents one of the Fibonacci areas that we drew when we drew this. I think this was the extension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this was the fib. No, this might have been the fib retracement level from the breakout level to the high there. So interesting. We'll see if 280 slows that down at all there. So there you go, Jay Harris. There's your breakdown on Broadcom. Let me know where your position stands with that and if you're interested in adding at some of those levels lower. All right, 13, let's move over to the movers. We'll knock that out. Any remaining time that we have here, we will focus on the tickers that you folks want to look at. We'll get you all set for that open coming in about 26 minutes here. I got good news for you. Again, I want to thank everybody for the birthday wishes. Very, very kind. You're absolutely making my day here early. But I got good news for you and everyone else here. The luck of the Irish is already showing up here, and we got green arrows across the board. Now, S&P futures up 0.26%, Dow futures up 0.32%, and the NASDAQ up 0.19%. So all of the futures were kind of unchanged a little bit earlier, but green on the screen as we barrel towards the open. All right, first stock on the movers list here today is going to be AI. That's AEYE. The ticker is LIDAR, LIDR, and this had an impulse move in the after hours yesterday, took us to right about 250 before coming back in. Now, what's happening here? Well, the company did report earnings, and they beat on the top and the bottom line, but they are also, and perhaps more importantly, joining NVIDIA Halo's AI system inspection lab to advance their safety certified physical AI solutions. So a really good catalyst here, a fundamental earnings beat, which is good. And then more news here with NVIDIA for the Halos AI System Inspection Lab. That's driving the stock higher by 38% here today. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 4.97% of the float shorted with 6.83 days to cover. That's something, but it's not crazy. And frankly, given the magnitude of volume that we're trading here today, I suspect that the days to cover probably won't come much into play here today. On average, the stock trades 1 million shares. It's done just shy of 20 million here today. The float on this is 44 million, so we've rotated about half of it prior to the opening bell. 13, what do you think here on ticker LIDR?
Well, this is a blast from the past. This is a 2021 SPAC. I don't remember if you remember when that merged, but this is a 2021 SPAC that merged with CF Finance Corp, and it has de-SPACed vigorously. So here we are going sideways for it's been more than a couple of years now. Hopefully, this new deal with Halos program with NVIDIA is going to finally give it the lift it needs. It's been trying to get back into the three handle for a long time. We've had a lot of prints up there since, but they all get faded. The company does have a little cash, very little revenue, but it has virtually no debt. So I think that's the big takeaway here is that this is finally de-SPACed. It has no debt. It just is looking for some business. Maybe it gets it with the Halos. Now, I don't know enough about this company to know exactly what they've got going on in their pipeline, but 215 is a big standout level here for me on the chart, and I'd be looking for a recapture of that. 218 also does stand out. If you look at the intraday on the 5-minute, we did lose that level when the pre-market opened, and we haven't been able to get back above it since. But I saw that 215 was also pretty standout. And we're only talking difference of a few cents, but it was pretty standout on a longer-term chart. Anyway, we're in this area where we're seeing some resistance to the upside. But if we can get back above this VWAP, we may be able to recapture 218 and go higher into those some of those after-hours highs that we were seeing yesterday.
Okay, good stuff there. We did have a fair value gap here earlier, but as you can see, the gap was actually hit twice. This gap no longer unmitigated. So maybe it acts as support again. Maybe it teams up with the 200 EMA here to provide some support. I do like that the gap range is a bit tighter. So if you're going to trade it, a stop at the bottom of the gap is palatable and really kind of controls your risk nicely. Furthermore, we have the trend line that connects the after hours high through the pre-market high today. This serves serves as a target for us to get over. We'll see what kind of trade action we have here on LiDAR, but that's a really good breakdown. Good start there, 13.
Yeah, nice little trend there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we're going to see if we end up breaking that here today. All right. Next here, we have BIAF. This is Bioaffinities Technologies. And we've talked about this one recently. If I zoom out here, I can probably figure it out. Yep, Friday morning, this was on the list here. Well, 250 sure seemed to be some significant support on Friday. And interestingly enough, the pop in the pre-market here today also fizzled at 250. You know what that means. Yep, indeed. That sets up 2 points that we can discern a trend line from. That is absolutely going to be a potential target here today. We traded back up to the VWAP here at 230. We'll see if we can get past that and then maybe make a move towards the trend line. We have some fresh news here today. A new case study, Bioaffinity Technologies CyPath Lung provides actionable results and helps patients avoid costly and invasive procedures. It's highlighting the benefit of adding the lung diagnostic pathway for high-risk patients that have multiple pulmonary nodules. So pretty good news here. We're up about 19%. Quick peek at the short interest. 5% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. Today, we've traded 14.3 million shares. That's versus a 100-day average of 4.5. Float here is 4.4. 13, what do you think? I guess starting off here, do you think we take out 250? That's really the big level that the chart is shouting at me. But what else do you think about BIAF here today?
If we're looking at the chart on the 5-minute, we're trying to get above the VWAP right now. It looks like there's a large seller in the way just beneath the 240 area. So if we take that out, we'll probably see the 250s and maybe even new pre-market highs. When I was looking at into this one, I didn't get too deep into their CyPath case study. I was more concerned about what their cash position was. And interestingly, we were the market cap before this move today was about 8.6 million. And that's a little more than they've got on their balance sheet. So they're pretty close to trading to cash. Maybe like maybe about $1 million off, but that's still pretty close. So I think that there could be a little bit more room to go with this one. They do only have 1 quarter's worth of cash, so I don't want to take the possibility of a capital raise happening today off the table. It's something they could possibly do. But I do like that trend line that you've got there. It looks like to me that we are going to come back up and try to test the 250 area and break over it. But we're going to need to see that volume pick up. And we haven't really seen that come back up since, about 8 o'clock this morning Eastern time. So I need to see that volume return. If it does, I think it's time to giddy up because this should start to recapture some of those earlier levels.
Okay, BIAF, we'll see what we get here today. The last time that this thing traded, we actually got a great trade, right? When we talked about it in the pre-market, it was right in here. I know it made a move towards the end of the pre-market, but the big move on the biggest volume was right out of the open. And so we'll see if we get something similar here today. I would still be watching that 250. I think if we break that, we might have an opportunity for a decent move higher here. So really good stuff. I also do have a fair value gap here that has not yet been hit. Let me show you where that's at. I got to get the right box here. Here you go. And that's going to be right in here. So here is the fair value gap. We'll see if that ends up holding and if we get a potential trade there. Yeah,
really need the volume to show up with this one. If we get that volume to show up, I think that we're going up to the trend line. And let's say we do end up breaking that trend line and go a little bit higher. If we have all that happen, we're going to want to see this trend line become support. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but that's something that we're going to want to see if we end up getting past that trend line once we open.
Okay, really good stuff here. Next on the list is going to be OKLL, and this is the 2x levered long for OKLO. So what I'm going to do instead is actually go to the underlying. Here's OKLO, and indeed there is a catalyst here today that is driving the stock higher by 7%. Oklo shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a U.S. Department of Energy offer transaction agreement to support the design, construction, and operation of its reactor under the Reactor Pilot Program. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has issued a materials license to Oklo's subsidiary, Atomic Alchemy, to handle, process, and distribute isotopes. So we were actually just briefly talking about some of the nuke names and the possible trade in happy hour yesterday. And one of the things that we said, it's going to be very story driven, might take some time, but very story driven. We didn't know we were only going to have to wait a matter of hours before we get a new piece of news that drives one of these stocks higher here. 66 looks to be the upside level. We'll take a look at the daily chart here in a sec. Just as a reminder, 12.25% of the float is shorted on this name with 2.92 days to cover on average, this being quote unquote a real stock or one of the better stocks than some of these junkier movers. Trades 10 million shares on average. It's only done 1.5 million here today. Float is 155 million. So we should have some decent movement here. OKLO 13. What do you think with OKLO?
Same thing that I thought about it last night. I haven't read through this news, so I don't know what kind of time frame that gives on Oklo on or any of these nuclear names on developing their the reactors or anything like that. I still think it's a ways away.
Yeah, me too.
The one we were looking at though was NewScale SMR. That's also up today slightly, and this one has some higher short interest, so we could also see this potentially have some movement as well. Just on a short squeeze side, I don't, this is still going to be a ways away when these get built and actually start earning revenue. So I think it's, when we get headlines like this, it's just going to be, a trade. But I don't think that's going to be it's the right time to start jumping into this for the long-term hold. Some people could, they're going to be doing that, and that's fine. That's their trade plan. But I think that without, revenue coming in as of yet, they're probably going to end up getting faded. So I think, like I said, great trade, not something I'd want to invest in just yet. I think that we need to start getting closer to when these are actually getting built or closer to when they're actually in operation. And that could be years away still. As far as the, let's say, you want me to look at the Oklo chart?
You can okay. If you want here. I am going to, while you're pulling that up here, I want to highlight something. CJ Strategies here saying real stock with no revenue, LOL. I'm definitely receptive to that. It is indeed pre-revenue. This is kind of one of the reasons that I was saying that the story here is really in the future. You're trading something that's on a story. It's a really good point, but still, CJ, when you compare this to some of the movers that we look at, like the China pumps, that one that ran to 13 or whatever it was yesterday, this is, I guess I want to say that this is more real. However, your point is well taken. Pre-revenue company, that's $63 here. It is what it is. 13. What do you have for me?
Yeah, so just looking at the 5-minute chart for Oklo here, we are coming down to test the VWAP right now, and this is where we're going to want to see it hold and potentially even reverse if we're going to continue with the upside. If we start losing VWAP, I think that we're going to test some of these lower prints. There's a consolidation area down around 63. We're approaching that. It's actually just beneath VWAP. So if we don't get support from that either, then it looks like we're going to come down into possibly that fair value area that you've got there where 65 EMA is.
Yeah, that's going to be right in here. And I'll tell you what, 13, if we do look like we're going to bottom it all here around 61, I could be talked into taking this trade here for a day trade. So, okay.
Now, Jay Rice, those are nuclear fuel suppliers. That's pretty different than these companies that we're talking about, where they actually need to build these structures in order to use that fuel. But you're right. When it comes to the fuel providers, I think their backlog is already bought up, something like that. Like they've already got all their fuel that they've already extracted and refined. That's already accounted or claimed, isn't it? No, let me know. But I think that's the big difference here is that fuel is absolutely going to do well. The nuclear reactor names like Oklo and SMR, that's in the future.
Okay. Good stuff here. Daniel Perez asking, can I get a shout out from these legends? I'm wearing my legends pants, so sure you can. Shout out Daniel Perez. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe and click on that notification bell to be notified when we go live here on this channel. Okay, good breakdown there. OKLO. Again, this came from OKLL. So if you like the idea here and you just want more juice, OKLL is the squeeze there for you. Now, the next stock on the list here is going to be FlyX. This is Fly exclusive. Ticker is FLYX. This also had a move higher here early in the pre-market. Looks like it topped out about right at 350, maybe a cent shy before retracing the move. Now it is holding 13.8% higher here today. This is moving as it completes a Starlink installation on the Challenger aircraft under an authorized Starlink, dealership agreement. So why do I keep calling it Starlink? Starlink PR here for this company. That's driving the price higher. Quick peek at the short interest, 3.46% of the float shorted with 3.37 days to cover. On average, it trades 2.3 million shares. We've done 13.24 here today. Floats 15. 13, you got any thoughts here on Fly Exclusive, FLYX? Someone in the chat was on this one.
I'll kind of look at it now. I wasn't looking at this earlier, but I think you may have Starlight on the brain because you were just watching The Boys or one of the episodes just recently. Anyway, it's an Amazon show. It's a character there. Anyway,
haven't seen it.
Anybody who has seen The Boys knows what that show's about. Anyway, the Fly Exclusive. This is consolidating around 280. Let me pull this up in my broker. Yeah, if we can't get it, it's been trying to get above the VWAP all morning. It doesn't seem like that's really going to happen unless we start to get some more volume here. Even if with the volume that we've had, there's been like 3 spikes, 3 impulse moves that have taken it over the VWAP, but it has not been able to hold up. I don't know what's going to what kind of volume it's going to need to actually hold above this. Maybe it trades better in the once we open, but this has not been able to capture the VWAP at all. We've got like maybe 1 close on the 5-minute chart above it. To me, if this continues to fail to get above the VWAP, I think we're going to see another test of that 65 EMA. As far as the financials go, company still loses millions of dollars every quarter, but they do have a good amount of revenue. So looks like they're going to have to potentially do a capital raise in the future, not anytime soon, as far as I can tell. Yeah, I don't know how great this one's going to be. If we can get the volume that takes us beyond the VWAP, maybe that'll change the way I see this. But even if it does get past the VWAP, there's $3 that the price has been running into that's been getting resistance up there. So I don't really know how great this one's going to be, but just watch the volume. If it does manage to take the price back over VWAP and hold above there, then maybe the trade's back on with this one.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Now, Fly Exclusive. This is obviously private aviation. It's also worth noting that AAL is on the movers list here today. This is obviously public aviation, American Airlines. It's also worth noting that Delta is on here. Now, Delta shares are trading higher because they raised Q1 sales guidance and reaffirmed its Q1 adjusted EPS guidance. Let me take a look see if there was any news here for American Airlines that perhaps I missed. 4.5% move ahead of the open. American Airlines sees Q1 2026 adjusted loss per diluted share at the lower end of the guidance range. So we're getting some pretty good news here about the what they see here or the earnings report in general. So it's just worth noting, though. Someone else here said we should see airline stocks start to trade better as we get closer to the end of the conflict. We'll see if this continues here or if maybe this is just a one-day pop. Fly Exclusive, though, also kind of fits into that same thing. Now, the next one here, CJ, don't worry. We're going to get to this one. This is a big move with a catalyst here. This is IBRX. This is one that we've traded actually quite a bit here. I feel like we were on this recently on Friday and then also back here at the end of February or a couple of days in a row where this thing moved. You can see now we're actually trading back up to the consolidation area from the beginning of March. It's worth noting, I think there's a decent area in here up to about 980, but we'll get to the chart there in a sec. Immunity Bio shares are trading higher after the company announced that the National Comprehensive Cancer Network has updated its 2026 clinical practice guidelines in oncology for bladder cancer to include Anktiva in combination with Bacillus calmette-guerin, I probably butchered that, for the treatment of patients with BCG, unresponsive non-muscle invasive bladder cancer, and papillary-only disease. That is a mouthful there, but it looks like we're getting some good news here regarding one of its treatments. That's driving the stock higher. We're higher by just about 12% here. You can see we actually did this in two moves. We had the impulse move, a little bit of a regression back to the mean. That produced a nice flag that we've since broken out of and gone higher here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 35.4% of the float shorted with 2.68 days to cover. Definitely higher here and may have an impact on how this stock trades here today. Going back to the chart here, 13, what is it that you see? I'm going to be right back, I promise.
The movement is great. I'm just worried about their cash. This company, sure, they've got revenue, and that's great and everything, but they lose more than they earn. So at some point, they're going to have that cash position get down to a point where they're going to need to raise more cash. They've got 88 million on the books right now, with 154 in short-term investments that can likely be converted to cash. But they're losing, as much as 60 to 70, sometimes even more than that, like over 100 million a quarter. So I feel like we're mostly just seeing short squeezing here today, because we're at some point with the way this goes, I believe. We're going to hit a threshold. It's not going to, the stock's not going to really be able to squeeze a whole lot higher, and then we're going to really come back in. That's just my expectation. That could be totally wrong, but I just think that we're really squeezing here, and this company it's got great news. Don't get me wrong, but when I look at their balance sheet, I'm just like, this probably is going to come right back in, because you got to have better revenue. You can't be burning through cash like this if you're going to maintain these levels. That's just my opinion on it. Like I said, the news is great, but I don't know if this move is sustainable. Now let's examine where this goes. We have this $9 support that we just broke out of, and then we're already testing it, again. So if we lose this, it looks to me like the 9 EMA is going to be, here we go. It's right back to it now, right now. The VWAP is going to be next down at 883, 82, something like that. Then I have this level at 875 that's been in support since we moved through it at 745 this morning. So that could be the next big support area if VWAP doesn't hold up. So like I said, I don't know how much this is going to extend. It could squeeze all morning, but the fundamentals, kind of, spook me from holding this too much longer than that. I think this is just a trade, and once you've got what you've wanted out of this, make sure that you've cleaned your hands of it, because I think this could end up just coming right back in.
Okay, really interesting. We have a very, very small fair value gap right down here. We'll see if we get to that.
Right, it's the cash and their income statements and their cash flow. I mean, they burn through so much cash that it's hard for me to really like holding on to this. I think we're just seeing more of a short squeeze.
Okay. All right, good stuff. IBRX, we'll see what we end up getting here today. Looks like, man, a lot of stuff is kind of changing here. 1&1 Green Techs, ticker YDDL. Boy, we just had kind of a quick move there. Thing moved from 8 to 12 and then back down here to 9. Let me see what's going on, if anything, on this name. Yep, indeed. 1&1 Green Technologies announces a plan to strategically enter the greater Manila area's electronic waste recovery recovery market. So Green Tech here entering a new market, stocks up by 8%. That's the news. Got nothing shorted here, 0.02%, literally 4,000 shares held short here. No possible short squeeze on this. On average, it trades 81,000 shares. It's traded 700,000 here today, floats 20 million. 13, this was probably not on your list. This thing has retraced most of its move. This might just kind of be a no touch. I do want to get to ACXP before we open here. So you have anything on this one?
I don't think that's a bad spot to be in. Electronic waste, I think, depending on how much the materials cost to extract the valuable metals from e-waste is going to end up costing them. Because I think a lot of it has to do with like sulfuric acid and I can't think. I looked at the whole process before because I was interested in it. But anyway, let me look at the financials of this company, because that might tell us how great this is. And it's one of these companies that looks like they only report 2 times a year. Looks like they're profitable. So I guess I don't know why it's so volatile, to be honest. Like why it did this. I haven't covered this, so I have any idea, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily a bad company just at first glance. So I don't really know what to make of this. VWAP's at $9.99. That's going to be the only target I have for now. I don't know what to make of this otherwise. But e-waste, I think that could end up being a big thing if we continue to see the price of metals and rare earths and things, come under pressure.
Okay. Next one here, ACPX. This is one that popped yesterday. Indeed, it is still holding its gains here today. Actually made another potential pop, although that was quickly retraced. We'll see what this ends up having here. Yeah, nothing fresh on this one. Again, just a reminder here on the short interest, only 2% on average. Stock trades 2.8 million. Float here 2.5 million. So maybe ACXP ends up going here. Here's the range that you have. Reaching financial freedom. Happy belated birthday to you, and thank you for the birthday wishes, Bex. Appreciate it. Good to see you again. Thank you for the birthday wishes there. And looks like I'm getting a birthday present here too. Ondas, an offering. So Ondas here was actually higher in the pre-market here. It looks like they've released an offering that is dragging the price down. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't know what it's going to mean for this one, but these offerings have been buys. Ondas acquires Indo Earth Moving following a $140 million strategic procurement tender award for military heavy engineering platforms from a major military customer.
Here we go.
Okay. With the open, you mean? Yep. Okay. So Ondas, so that's what's going on. We'll see where this settles here. Let me look through that a little bit more when I have some more time. Let's get rolling here, folks.
Look, here we go with LiDAR. We're getting everything that we wanted from this. Burst through the trend line, back tested it. Now we're trying to push higher into 235. Got to deal with the seller right now, but this is the volume that we needed. Take us to 250.
And IDRX straight up out of the gate to 927 there. That thing just ripping. LIDR right above that pre-market high, as you mentioned.
Oklo higher.
So Oklo, okay. So we're getting a green open here, 13. Green open for St. Patrick's Day.
ACXP went straight down to 200 EMA. That YDDL one, holy cow, that thing was really bad.
I love the laugh. Wow, that thing. Okay, straight down out of the open here. After what a nasty pop. I really hope nobody was a buyer in the 11 handle. That is a bad start to the day for sure.
Now we want to see if LIDR is going to hold this trend line. We got this seller walking it down right now. BIAF, this is trying to push up beyond VWAP, and it just did. It looks like it's trying to take out 250 as well. Just be careful with these, man. These are really, really moving around fast.
Yeah,
be careful.
It might be one of those where you either got to be really tight on your area for entry there or support area, or just simply wait out the shake from the open here. We're saying so the
now look at Oklo.
I was just going to say that. I was literally getting ready to say that. You stole the words right out of my mouth there, frankly, which is okay. Oklo, that initial pop right to that resistance area. Now we're coming back. Remember, the 61 area is about where that fair value gap is. So maybe if we get a pullback down to that area, maybe we can bounce a little bit.
I mean, man, the only one that's actually still holding up here is BIAF, but all the other ones we looked at, they pulled hard.
Zach saying Ondas offering to buy Ryan a present. This would be a great day to get that Ondas vest that Eric was wearing that I thought was real sharp. Just throwing that out there, Zach. Oklo continuing to pull, actually coughed up its VWAP in this recent pull. SPY continuing to march higher. This thing, tell you what, no entry on the 0 DTE SPY calls here today. This thing was basically a ramp from the end of the pre-market into the open and has now continued higher here. So no spot for entry for me yet. I'll let you know if that changes. So far, though, this all seems good. The trend here, bullish on the 5-minute, bullish on the 15-minute, 100% confidence on that 15-minute chart as well. So market feeling the green here. Luck of the Irish. We are trading up across the board.
It looks like Mag 7s are all green except for NVIDIA, which is just on the verge of trying to become green. Didn't have a whole lot more to go, but all the other Mag 7s and some of the other significant stocks that we kind of lump into there. Like Broadcom, they're going higher as well out of the open so far.
And Captain Cloudy here, I am spot on with you, Captain Cloudy. 673 is the resistance for SPY. We basically went right there. We're at 673.44 right now. If we can close 2 candles above it, then we could go higher. Better still if we get that daily close above it.
I can dig it. That's right between that 672, 674 range that I think is going to provide resistance. So sure, I'll take the middle. But yeah, that whole range has a lot of consolidation in it that could provide resistance.
CGC, this is green on a big volume candle here. So the cannabis company is green on St. Patrick's Day. The universe is, in fact, in order.
We've got some decent movement here from LGVN. This one from, I think this
was a mover from yesterday. Yeah, LGVN, that's Longeveron. Some people call it Lagavulin.
Well, they shouldn't.
I know, but it's funny because that means they're a Scotch fan and I can talk to them.
Okay.
By the way, one more thing regarding LGVN. This has earnings after hours here today. And there was another stock also that we talked about that I forgot to mention that we have earnings for. Someone in the chat hit it. Let me go back and find that. I forgot to mention that, and I should absolutely have done that. I can't find it now.
Well, I mean, I think Ocean Power, one of the ones that we've looked at before, they have earnings today.
Anyway, whoever said that earlier about that stock, I'm sorry I missed it, but thank you.
Ocean Power. So, this is a penny stock that we've looked at before. This is one that I think is interesting because of the power buoy systems that they've got going on, and they're in talks, and if not already using some of their products in the Middle East. I think this is one of the companies that has mine detection on some of their products, but it's basically buoys that can provide like 5G and other services with their buoys that use the motion of the waves to power it.
Okay. Beck's mentioning that Open is green here today. That's Open Door. That also popped here. That moving right out of the gate. Blue Owl Capital. I know this is one of those private credit stocks that has really been pounded recently. That's popping here today. Also worth noting, the market continuing to trade higher here. Sorry?
BIAF is ripping.
BIAF. Let me put that up on screen. One more thing to mention here. Oil still higher by 1.3%, but down from the morning highs. VIX melting into a 22 handle, about to break that. I would be... I'll tell you what, if VIX breaks 20 to the downside, we might have something here. Here's your BIAF chart. And indeed, this now through the pre-market highs. Good mention there, 13.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to extend there's a couple of areas this would go to if it's going to get crazy. I think we could see, some of the 285s, but if I'm using this other wick here, I mean, this thing could just skyrocket into the threes, but I don't know that we're going to get that. And now we're getting it walked down by a seller right now. So I'm just looking at a couple of potential trends, and looks to me like 285 might be more realistic, but this other one that I was looking at takes it much higher into the 3 handle, and I don't know that we're going to get that. We'll see. It's possible. I just don't know.
Lemonade, this is one that JR mentioned here this morning. That's ticker LMND. Lemonade shares are trading higher after Morgan Stanley upgraded the stock from equal weight to overweight. So that's a true upgrade, not just a price target adjustment. It also raised the price target on the stock from 80 to 85. Lemonade here straight up out of the open after green arrows in the pre-market. That actually pulling back a little bit from its high. SMR here, that also moved out of the gate and pulled back a little bit. Uber, which had news here with NVIDIA, that moved higher out of the gate. Well, it sure looks like there are bullish candles all over the place. Let's see if they hold throughout the course of the day. SPY has found some resistance at 674. That was a level that we have also been looking at here. We'll see if we can make it through that. What do you got?
I'm just laughing with Zach. He's reminding everybody that what I said. Ocean Power Technologies has earnings after close. They're also a partner with Anduril. Ryan, I sent you a text this morning about an interview with Palmer Luckey with Axios that they just put out yesterday. I thought that was a great interview. So give that let you
I will.
watch on
I
your
will
own.
absolutely watch.
Yeah.
I enjoy all of Palmer's interviews. I will absolutely watch that. And by the way, one more comment here: if OPTT goes to $1, Zach's going to get you some proper boost. I can confirm that you will be happy if that happens. So I've got my fingers crossed for the both of you. I'll let you know if I do take a little play position in that name.
I do like McKellen, Zach.
Zach's got a pretty refined palate himself. I would imagine that anything he suggests is probably in the win column.
All right.
Just going to throw it out there again. Tesla had a big move down. That is bouncing. And at 13, I know we've talked a lot about financials recently. We talked about that with Mark as well. Goldman Sachs straight up out of the gate here today.
Yeah. Just to recap some of these movers that we looked at this morning, LiDAR lost the trend line, and it's now trading beneath the VWAP, kind of, pretty much at the sideways area around that 215 that we were talking about earlier. We're going to want to see at least this hold up, but it's under pressure right now, so we'll see what happens from here. But if we do get a turnaround, we want to see some of these levels get recaptured. Large seller in the way at 230. BIAF, this continues to push higher. 271 is now the new high. So we're getting pretty close to that 280 area that I thought we might be able to go to. But there is a seller I can see on the price ladder up at around 275 that might provide some tough resistance. We'll see if the volume is going to be enough to chew through that seller. Oklo losing VWAP. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we have a mind meld going on. That's literally the next stock that I wanted to talk about, and you just hit it.
Yeah, FlyX, this coming right back down to where it closed yesterday. IBRX, this also trying to get some support from the 875 area, which is beneath VWAP, but it's trying to recapture it now. That YDDL, that halted to the downside, unhalted, went green. Well, I'm sorry, it didn't go green. It turned around, tried to go green, and it's halted to the upside now. Still beneath all the EMAs and VWAP.
LIDR, this popped out of the open and came right back into the pre-market consolidation area. This is actually straddling the 65 EMA. Again, we had a gap here earlier. It's kind of bouncing off the top end of that range, but that gap is no longer unmitigated, so I don't necessarily trust it. BMNU, this is going to be your BMNR 2X levered ETF. That's in the green by 1.94%. That means BMNR is going green here. And by the way, Bitcoin basically flat, but still technically in the green.
I just posted the link to the Palmer Lucky video. Some folks were asking if we had
Excellent.
that interview. There you go, Kenneth.
Oh, Kenneth, that's what the one that you were asking about. Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that because I don't have that one queued up here. Good morning, Chris. It's great to see you again, Chris. Hope you're well. What do you think about Kyler Murray, by the way? All right.
Any thoughts on NU long term? Let's see here. New holdings, I think. I mean, is this okay? So this is a South American one. This might be good because we had a whole idea about what the South America is going to end up looking like if we dealt with Venezuela and some of the other cartel heavy countries. So I think that would be positive for banks. I don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, it looks like it's doing pretty good here with on a monthly chart. This stock has been riding the 20-month SMA for some time. We're actually getting support from it this month. So that would kind of be where I'm at with this one right now with NU. Let's just see if we can get that 20-month SMA to hold up. That would, mean support of $14. So we're going to want to see this start to, either go sideways or turn around here from this level. And it's probably not going to happen right away, but it in the coming weeks and maybe even months, we'll want to see it move off of that. Because if I look at a daily chart, this thing's in a bit of a decline right now, but it looks like it's come down to a support area. So we just need to see this area 14, I think, hold up and provide support for at least another couple of weeks. Let's just see what happens down there. But I think the South American banks, on the heels of kicking out the cartels and the drug lords and all that, I think that's positive, an overall positive for the continent.
Yeah, and remember, I know this is going back a ways, but we have a gentleman that specializes in South American businesses that join the happy hour fairly regularly. He's joined the morning program here as well. It's going to be Stay Focused. Big shout out to him if he's out there. He has been bullish on those South American banks for some time, so it's nice to see maybe we get a little bit of follow through there. Yikes, Chris, you think the Vikings are going to go 4-12? I'll tell you what, I hope our division is as competitive as it was last year, and that includes the Packers, Fairchild, Joe, and Wendy's Tendies. I think the football is better when it's competitive and when the teams aren't garbo. All right. Oh, who else was on BW? Babcock and Wilcox. That ripped out of the open here. That's actually a nice little gap up from yesterday's close as well. Airlines still holding around the pre-market highs, but not really moving higher. At least that's the case on American. Let's check Delta as well. Delta, same deal, cannot get above those pre-market highs.
And Jay, are you still trading AMSC? Because it's having a good morning again. We had a run into the open yesterday, and we sold off after it hit 32.50. That looked like a little bit of an opportunity. It looks like so far it has been. It's kind of climbing back up. Still like AMSC. I think there's a big DHS angle tied to this too for electrical grid security. So if we do finally get that DHS funding passed, I think we could see this rise as well.
Hassan mentioning Rocket Lab, that a rocket right out of the gate here. That's also above yesterday's intraday highs. Just kind of ran that with volume right out of the open. So that's another pretty good one there. And check it out. Happy birthday to me indeed. That Ondas offering, at least early on, getting bought back into the green here. Again, I haven't gone through this, so give me some grace in case I make an error in my analysis here. But it sure seems like this strategic procurement tender for military engineering programs, this seems to me like this is going to lead to more long-dated recurring revenue contracts down the road. That's my initial knee-jerk reaction. They had mentioned that the financial terms were not disclosed here and then offered, I'm guessing, to do that. I'm wondering if the market is looking through this and seeing possible green arrows pointing to the bottom line as this continues to expand that partnership. That would be my best guess here today. Ondas plus 1.5%.
BIF consolidating, still above the VWAP. And yeah, AMSC is awesome. It's wild.
Oh, yeah, 13. That reminds me, you probably weren't here yet, but our guest, J.R. Romero from T3, very bullish on AMPX, actually had a target going up to 26.28 on AMPX. I guess I'd be curious on what you think about that. That's got to be pretty good.
So do you remember how I said this is going into the 20s?
Yep.
Okay, so
sure do.
So do you want to draw a trend line? Do you want to draw a trend line?
I do love a good old trend line here. Let me make this a little bit more manageable. I think I see what you're saying. Let me guess.
I think you have to make sure that you've got all of 2025. Oh no, that if it's July, then I think you're good. But yeah, there's a high from July 21st that I would start with and draw it through the high of October, and that's going to give us our area of where this potentially could go. And looks to me like that's going to take us up to somewhere between 26 and 27.
Okay, there we go. I've got that trend line on the daily. We'll see if we hit that. Giddy up if it ends up going there.
Speaking of going, it looks like if we just get a little bit more volume, BIAF is trying to break over the 270 on its way up to that 285 area that I was looking at.
Okay. CPNG, that's going to be Coupang. That was mentioned here. Someone else mentioned SMCI earlier. It was a Wall Street Bets avatar. We'll take a look at that. Here's CPNG. Really, the intraday high from yesterday is the next level there. Actually, looks like it tested that.
And there it is with SOC, Alpha Trade. This is one that I was talking about yesterday. Unfortunately, we did get it to sink after we had that pop from the news that we were waiting for. But now it's coming back up and probably will end up running into some resistance around the 18 handle, where we had that consolidation from the after hours and the pre-market the day before. Okay,
SOC looking pretty good here. A lot of stuff looking pretty good here. Market is still trading higher across the board. Across the board, SPY, NASDAQ, and Dow all at the highs. I guess we might as well check IWM as well. Really quickly, I wanted to mention SMCI. That was a really good mention earlier. I know we didn't look at it in the pre-market, but boy, oh boy, this thing just ripped right from the VWAP there, right out of the open. That's back at 32. You folks are mentioning that UCAR was halted. I have this as just resuming right now. UCAR. This went from penny territory to dollar territory and is trying to hold on to that right now.
That's right. What's the battery theme? Did you mention something here, or is it just regarding the AMPX? Because AMPX is well within that battery theme. I was just reading what Wiss was saying.
Yeah, but was that about UCAR? This provides vehicle sourcing services, primarily engaged in new energy vehicle development and sales, battery swapping stations, manufacturing and sales, and battery swapping services. So there actually is a battery tie to the UCAR.
I think that's more on the EV side, though, because
it definitely is.
The battery theme that we're talking about is specifically the manufacturers and the source, the materials. So, like lithium plays, for example, and then AMPX, like we were talking about, is for the drones. So that's more in line with the battery theme that I'm talking about. Maybe even vanadium or Bloom Energy. That's, because that's more on the fuel cell side, but even that could be part of the battery theme. So, but you're okay. So, Wiss, you're also saying, UCAR for the battery theme. Okay. I think that's a little bit more on the EV side, but I'm not going to say that that's wrong at all, because you're right. It has the battery swap thing.
Okay. NVIDIA here. Look at this. We actually tried to push up again here today, and we're pounded right back down to the pre-market area. So NVIDIA, I know we've talked about that. The GTC conference still going on. Some pretty good news coming out of there yesterday, but who's left to buy it? NVIDIA pretty flat here today, only up 0.25%. That's actually, against the market there, that's actually weak comparatively.
I'm being asked about NBIS. So if this thing has been kind of a gapper lately. So here we are after a couple of gap ups. We're kind of getting a gap down today. In between the two, we're kind of filling the gap with a gap downer. I don't know if I've really seen a whole lot of that before, but to me, it looks like 109 to 110 might be your support area if we get down there. That was a area of resistance when ever since last year when we lost the level in November. I've been trying to get back above 105 to 110. Been getting rejected until just recently this month. We managed to finally break out of that. So now that we've broken out of it, we would want to see a back test of that area as support. So I would say 109, 110, we get down there and we kind of go sideways or consolidate, maybe even bounce. That would be a good sign that NBIS has support level at 10, and we could still move higher.
NBIS here, Jay saying they did a convert, and indeed the company announced a $3.75 billion proposed private offering of convertible senior notes due 2031 and 2033. So that is the convert that Jay is talking about. That's why the stock is down nearly 10% here. Also, while 13 was going off there, I did notice, let me see if I can find it here. Where are you? I did notice a Lulu trade here. Looks like we're trading 160 puts. Now, Lulu popped. They've got earnings after hours here today. Looks like we're seeing some put buying ahead of that. I've only noticed one sweep there, so I'll keep my eye to see if there are any others that help determine the direction. And by the way, BW, Babcock and Wilcox, also trying to go higher here.
Okay, BIAF, that hit my target. 289 is now the high. This is where I had my first trend line go to. I don't know if it's going to continue to move higher. It looks like it's trying to still. But if we're going to go with this other trend line that I drew that I thought was a little wild, then we should see this come up into the 330s.
Okay, $3 sure looks like the next test coming here. BIAF, I think it's time, 13. Okay. Register rings around for the BIAF crew. That thing ripped here.
I don't know that we're going to see all the levels that I'm thinking of into the threes. It could find resistance, but we're still pushing. So who am I to say that it's not going to happen? There's three. We're over three now. Yeah, 330s is where I basically see this going next if we continue with this.
Okay, there's the three test there. Netflix puts, that's interesting considering Netflix trading up to yesterday's intraday high and basically stopping there. Looks like some put flow on the back of it as well. Danielle mentioning that SMX is halted. SMX up 28.3%. Indeed, this now halted to the upside here. Security matters. Did we have news on this? This was actually after a pretty big fall. Let me see if we had news on this. Nope, just halted on the circuit breaker. Only newsprint we have here today. Not sure why that's halted, but indeed, that's halted up 28%.
Pretty Panda. ACX piece problem. I don't know. You'd have to give me some time to look into that. But I'm just looking at the chart, and or maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. ACXP, go back. You want it back down to 2? Why do you want this to go down? Are you trying to short this? It looks to me like this is trying to go higher. Curex Pharmaceuticals. This is the one we're looking at, right?
Yeah, I maybe he is shorting it. It sure looks to me that 6 is actually a significant resistance area. And it did come from 2 not many days ago. I mean, Tuesday last week, a week ago. This thing was $2.
Yeah. I guess I see 6. To me, 8 stands out even more. But 6 is first. So let's see if it even can get up there. But yeah, to me, this kind of looks like it's trying to push higher. We're about to have a silver cross on the daily chart. We'll see what happens at 6, and if it goes beyond 6, then 8's the resistance I see after that. Beyond that, I don't have a whole lot to add.
GEV seeing some call buy here. Really, GEV needs to get back above 840 if that's going to make its run to 1,000. I guess we could call 900 first, but if it's going to move up, needs to get above that 840 area. Bumble, this is continuing to trade up. This is on the back of its earnings there. A lot of folks must be swiping right. Bumble higher here out of the open.
BIAF really pulling now after hitting 309. We're back down to 275.
Oklo continuing to pull here. CJ, is this inducing laughs yet because the no revenue here? We'll see if this continues to pull. Again, I have that fair value gap area around 61. Not sure how much I trust it. We'll see, though. On Oklo.
Oh, you're sick. Okay. I hope it works out for you, Panda. Folks watching UCAR, it's unhalted. Well done, everybody that's successfully trading that.
Oh, man, UCAR, this is up for another halt here, though. Halted 149 to the upside. UCAR, your halt runner. Who was asking for the 600% runner earlier? Well, you got 236 so far on UCAR.
Yeah, Longeveron, kind of just consolidating here. We were looking at this earlier. This is one from yesterday.
FlyX is grounded. Marvell calls going off. This was one I believe Lion was on yesterday. Marvell trying to break out from yesterday's highs, seeing some call buying on it. Those calls, by the way, are for April and then June. So these are not just weekly calls. This is a little bit longer. Marvell.
LiDAR getting some support around 205, which is pretty much where it's been getting a lot of support, that whole area in the pre-market. Going to have to see a recapture of the VWAP here or in the 65 EMA, because if we can't do that, I think we go down to the 200 EMA.
All right, LiDAR here doing its best to hold 2. That was one of the support areas that we talked about. Mm-hmm. Jay mentioning Blackstone here, not the grill, the private credit. That's ticker BX. This is actually up here, seeing some buying in the private credit. We also saw that earlier here, Jay, in Owl. Let's see how Owl's holding up. Owl up also by 5% here. So you're seeing that across the board, not just BX, but BX and Owl.
So the news from yesterday referenced private credit that the private equity firms could commit $4 billion for this OpenAI joint venture that's worth $10 billion. That's the most recent news I'm seeing here with BX. It was from yesterday morning.
Okay. Tesla at the highs, PayPal at the highs, Apple at the highs. And that VIX still flirting with a possible breakdown through 22 at 22.11 right now. Evidently, we're also going to get Jensen on CNBC coming up here. I don't know if we're going to get any new news broken from that, but that's coming.
Redwire has been having a good morning. It's one that I've been on for some time, and it looks like it's trying to consolidate to break over this 1005 area that it's been trying to push over since it got up here. We did print 1010, but we retreated. We haven't been able to close over 1005, and unfortunately, volume looks like it's kind of fading a little bit. But this one, it seems like every day it tries to get over 10 and hold over it, but it's hasn't been able to do that. Just look at the past few days of trading. So Thursday, Friday,
I'm sorry, which ticker is this 13?
RDW, Redwire.
RDW. Sorry, I was looking at EDSA, which is ramping.
Yeah, this one, tries its darndest to get over 10, and sometimes it does print over, and then it ends up selling off. The day that we start holding over 10, that might be the day that this starts going higher, Redwire.
Okay. Jensen also will be on Mad Money tonight. Okay. Good to know.
Let's see what the XFL or XLF.
XLF, that's your financials ETF there. Trey here saying retail bounces on credit companies until the news changes or maybe IGV turns up, probably just a relief rally. That's got me thinking that maybe there really isn't a play in Lululemon here today. I'm curious to know if anyone's playing Lululemon for earnings. I might ask Anne Marie about that. Just throwing it out there.
So XLF still trading beneath the 20-month SMA. We still have, a good portion of the month left to go. So we'll see what ends up happening. But it's having a good day. And I think this is one of the things I was kind of leaning on for, the direction the market could go. Just pay attention to what the XLF is telling us. And we just had a death cross here on the daily chart. So that could be a sign of more downside to come, especially if we cannot recapture the 20-day SMA, which is at 50 and 88 cents.
That's right. That's right, Tiny Pie. Just look at the market. The power of St. Patrick is unparalleled. I also enjoy that they dye the river green here in Chicago for me, but that's just an aside.
Oh, yeah, you're watching The Fugitive tonight.
That's right. Sure am. That's after the U.S. World Baseball Classic Championship, though.
Looks like ACXP starting to form a bit of a flag. We'll see if that ends up working or not. But there should be some good volume coming here with this one if we're going to get back above the VWAP. It just kind of has this pattern here. So, but it gets this spike of volume, and then it just really drops off. So we'll see. It's got to hold above, I would say, 525. I didn't kill my wife. Yeah. I don't care.
It's just such a good movie with so many good quotes. Just so many.
SOC still climbing. But it does look like volume has kind of really left the market a bit here.
And as far as the broader market goes here, I'll bring up the SPY chart just to kind of give you the visual aid on it. We basically traded higher here right out of the open and also in the pre-market, but we've stopped here at about 674. And 674 has absolutely been one of the resistance areas. Market here, at least giving it a test. We'll see if it moves through it still here today. VWAP at 672.85. So maybe if it holds it there, it is a potential to maybe curl back up, but we'll see. Selena saying, Ryan, didn't catch your comment on credit cards. What was the news? I don't think I commented on news regarding credit cards. We were talking about private credit companies, which have been getting smoked recently, throwing a bounce here. And the two we were looking at were ticker BX Blackstone and ticker OWL Blue Owl Capital. By the way, ACXP right to the VWAP and backed off, did not have the strength to go through it even after the volume pop. And Trey, I agree. Market's a small downturn here. Really, if we're going to get a pullback there, don't we need to crack the VWAP on this downturn? That would be what I'm looking at. Ondas continuing to push green on the back of its offering. Let's go. No way Ondas was going to close red on my birthday, was there?
I don't think I've ever seen a company with that many offerings do so well. After they've offered, it's so consistent.
I really think that the drone theme is the primary driver of that 13. Oh, yeah. I think people, they see drones, they see what it means, they see them in practice in Ukraine and the other conflicts going on, and they think, you know what? These companies need more money to make these. The demand's not going away. We're clearly going to move that way. And I think that leads to the buying up of that. That would be what my gut tells me.
Take me home, Redwire.
Back above 10. Back above 10. Market continuing to pull back here towards the VWAP.
I don't think I got a chance to mention how great of an opportunity it was, but remember how we were talking about the SQQQ yesterday?
Yes. Here, you want me to bring that up for the visual aid?
Yeah, yesterday we had that same opportunity that we always talk about the extension away from VWAP. It happened when we had that breakout on the SPY that was immediately sold into, and it pulled the SPY right back down. Look what happened, and of course, with the same thing with the Qs. But look at what happened with SQQQ when that happened. We got a massive extension away when there was that breakout in the market occurred. It took it down to 71.86, which was a very large extension away from the VWAP, which was at 73 at the time.
And it came right back.
That was the trade again. It happened again.
So really what we're talking about here as far as a tradable pattern is a divergence from the VWAP. When it just gets multiple points, that's your buy trigger. You may not be able to hit the bottom. So what I would say strategically, especially for those of you with smaller accounts here, I would just add small on the way down so that your risk doesn't get thrown out too quickly if the stock continues to move down. But 13, the key here, the return to the VWAP seems to always do that at some point throughout the course of the day.
Yeah, and that VWAP extension always is presenting that opportunity, especially when it has that volatility. That was it was such a good opportunity. Now, I didn't catch it, but I wanted to point out that it's still there. It still happens with these SQQQ and some of these other names all the time. I think the TQQQ is the other one we were looking at as well for that extension away from VWAP. That works. BIAF, it got some VWAP support. It's trying to push back up into the 3 handle. That's awesome, Sal. I think Redwire is going to be great in the future. I think it's great right now, but it's going to continue to do good.
NVIDIA and Broadcom are red. So that was something else that we were kind of waiting for. I don't know that I necessarily had a plan to trade that direction, but boy, oh boy, I had started by saying,
LiDAR.
Who's left to buy? And NVIDIA, here we are going red. LiDAR, LIDR.
Keep an eye on that. It's trying to come back up and recapture the 65 EMA. VWAP will be after that, and then the trend line. So if we get this volume, that's helping it turn around, because it seems like this $2 area, or at least like 205, somewhere around there. That's been support going into the open as it was in the pre-market here. So as long as that continues to hold up, there's still a chance for this to recapture some of these levels. We just need to see that volume. I think that's the only thing missing here from LiDAR, is just to see that volume come in and take the price back up to the VWAP, maybe even over it. Still some sellers in the way, especially at 230. So even if we get up there, going to see some resistance. But right now, we need to see that volume component kick in to get back above VWAP.
Okay, I've got VWAP at 214 here, 215 in my broker, right in the same spot. We'll see if we can push here on LiDAR. Tell you what, I'm in complete agreement with you with volume being the trigger here. We're going to really need that.
Looks like we're finally getting a little weakness here in SOC. This was, this one could be good, especially with the expectation of revenue starting next month. Just one I'm keeping an eye on. I think it's going to be a pretty good day trade, but I want to see what we get out of their production.
Born, it's great to see you. Good morning. We have been well here. We've been missing you. Hope you're well. Hope everything is
Born.
well in your corner of the universe, my man.
Wiss mentioning SMX halted again.
Uh-oh.
Danielle mentioning that it secures the global race for rare earths and critical minerals. Been talking about how this trade is probably going to be back on, because this is the card that China likes to play in trade negotiations with the U.S. And if that Trump-Xi meeting gets delayed, or if it still happens and that card is played, well, this minerals trade is right back on, and we'll see all those names that we looked at before do well again. Two that I've been keeping an eye on are USAR and CRML. Those have some real interesting looking charts.
SMCI, I'm seeing some puts come across here on the unusual option wire. This popped out of the gate. Really couldn't get much past 32.5. I'll tell you what, that LiDAR looking like it doesn't have the strength yet. 13, that volume is going to be the key. And volume is going to be the key, no doubt.
This one from yesterday, CYN, not having too bad of a day. Much better than it did yesterday. because this thing had a big old drop around the middle of the day. I don't remember what this drop was. Maybe that was an offering. Let's see. CYN. What did they do yesterday?
Retro's asking what's holding NVIDIA back. My thought is lack of buyers. That as simple as that sounds, that's what I think it is. Who's left to buy?
CYN, 9.65 million registered direct offering. Let me go back to my notes, see what I said about that. I don't think I even covered it. No, I didn't. But that's the reason why it went down. This was a mover from yesterday.
Earnings 8 days from now, by the way, CYN.
This is the one that had the forklift integration with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's a buyable dip. If they're raising cash to expand that could be, it could be like one of those Ondas, kind of things. We're using this capital. We need it right now in order to expand operations. We can't wait for banks to underwrite or anything. We need it now. So they'll dilute their shares. AIFF, watching that crap again?
Now, that thing has been, I know it's crappy, but that thing's really been moving recently. It looks like we're getting another curl action here today.
Hey, here's some good things to say about this. We've captured the 200-day SMA, and we're still holding above it. This could represent the third close above that moving average today. We did have a silver cross recently on March 10th. That's a good sign. We're in a consolidation area from last year, from basically, this consolidation area extends beyond last year, but that's where we're at right now. So we could face a lot of shareholders trying to exit this thing up in this area. The 500-day SMA certainly is a resistance area, as is the $3 level. But as long as we hold that 200-day SMA, I think there's a good chance this could go higher. So I think for me, I'm not in this, but for me, I'd be patient. It is a little bit elevated here. So I could see some weakness that takes it down to test the 200-day SMA again. But like I said, as long as we hold above that moving average, this is likely to still try and push higher into 3.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. AIFF. Thank you, Knights Lance. Appreciate it. Luck of the Irish helping us all here today as we're getting green arrows in our market.
Oh, yes. And yeah, JIRDM is not exciting, but it's we talk about it a lot. It's one of the only space companies that actually pays a dividend. So I think that's it's why it's attractive to me. All right, what's looking good? Looks like we're getting a lot of weakness here.
UCAR limited by Schwab happens all the time now. I know you use Thinkorswim, Ryan. What do you do in this situation? Do you avoid those tickers? Yes, honestly, I've been kind of avoiding more of the junky tickers recently, funky cold stocks. I've actually found myself trading the SPY 0 DTE calls for the day trade juice. But it is worth mentioning a number of folks here have had success reaching out to Schwab and saying, please lift that restriction. And in fact, if you have a fear of calling people, which I know a lot of people have, you can also apparently do this via chat. So that a number of folks saying success with that. So give that a shot if you're trying to go after those. Lion, take care of yourself. Thanks for the well wishes here. And thanks for being nice today. We really appreciate that. Have a great green day indeed, buddy.
He's nice every day. He just comes a little spicier.
No, he said today. The only reason I brought that up is because he said today he was going to try, and I think he did a good job. And so I'm complimenting him. That's
Have a good day, Line. All right, let's see what do we got here. This kind of seems like some stuff is in a bit of a consolidation phase. Some is still trying to push higher. Some are selling off. Oklo, man, what a double top this thing had. We're down here at the 65 EMA. This could still fall a little bit lower and get some support around 61. I could also be, I wouldn't be surprised if this just went right back to where it started in the pre-market.
61, by the way, is where the top of the fair value gap range was. I did, right? Mission accomplished. Lion, you're too much. We appreciate all of your support, though, every day, not just today. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so much is kind of sideways. You know what? I wonder here if we're about to get a big move in GSIT. If you look at I guess we'll look at a 5-minute chart. Since yesterday, this has been trying to get over and close above 10. And we got 2 attempts yesterday. We kind of faded a little bit into the after hours and went sideways in the pre-market. Here we are attempting this again. I'm wondering if we're about to see a breakout through this, or maybe an extension into the 10 handle some more. It just looks like, doesn't it look like to you it's trying to get up there?
Yeah, and it sure looks like, yesterday's intraday high. I know it's not exactly 10 here. What, 10, 10, 10, 11? Actually looks like it is trying to break this. And if you go to a daily chart, it looks like the breakout has kind of already started. So we would want to see some continuation here. Now, I think you outlined this yesterday. You're going to have to remind me, but did you have this previous consolidation area back from the fall of last year? It looks like it's between about 10 and 13.
Yeah, so we could see like some volatility in this area between that whole price range. Or if there's volume and news, we could just go right through all of it. But I don't know what news that's going to be. I mean, but this has moved pretty well on some news it's had in the past. So maybe there's some news coming.
Fairchild saying Stolat. Man, it's been a long time since I've heard anyone say Stolat to me. Stolat, Neji, Ejianam, huh? Unbelievable. Happy birthday song in Polish. We cover all corners of the globe on this show. I got to say, it's pretty awesome. LiDAR, are we turning around? So we still, oops, I didn't mean to click news. Sorry. We still need VWAP, which I've got at 214, but it looks like we're trying to curl a little bit here. Let's see on LiDAR.
Yeah, just give us that volume expansion.
That's what we need, that volume expansion through VWAP. That's the makings of your entry. We'll see if we can get back up towards 240, which would be a pretty good target there. Good morning, Solitary Soldier. It's great to have you on this green St. Patrick's Day. You know what? I should probably stop talking about it, because if we keep pulling back and we reverse this, not only are we not going to be green for much longer, but we're also going to have a kind of a nasty looking candle. So we'll see where we finish up here. SPY still holding higher by 0.46%. And LiDAR here got a VWAP test coming, it looks like. We really need to break above this big seller here right at VWAP. Maybe that is going to be enough for our volume to increase.
And even if we do end the market down, what do you say that gold still ends up green, Just to continue with the theme.
Oh, I see. Green on the screen somewhere. And if it's not going to be the market, it's going to be gold. Okay.
Pot of gold. That's right.
I like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That was the opener today.
Okay, LiDAR, it's trying to push. We're at VWAP.
So I was just going to say, so we got the VWAP test, but what we are lacking still is the volume expansion that we have been calling for. That can happen fast, though, so we'll see if we get that.
Looking around here, man, Oklo losing the 65 EMA, and that's coming down some more. So into your fair gap area, I believe.
Let's take a look. 61 was the top end of it.
Yeah. Okay. So
here, I'll draw it. I drew it on the movers pane. Let me draw it on this pane. Again, this was an old fair value gap, and it's not unmitigated, but the price really kind of ran away from it. So I don't necessarily want to get too excited. It's basically from this move right here, right up to 61, right to the bottom of that candle. Let me see it right there. So I've got actually 61.25. I beg your pardon.
SMX is open. This is Danielle.
Okay, we can take a look at that. That's been our halt fest here today, or one of them.
Still has low float. I think that's one of the attractive things about SMX is that the float was always so low that this is, on the news, it's just going to get pushed around. So BIAF been holding above the VWAP all morning.
Let me go to that. We got started to get this LiDAR cool, and I took BIAF off my screen. Holding above the VWAP here indeed. SPY continuing to roll over, so we did lose the VWAP. No trade there. The VWAP on the futures, 67.72. We're currently at 67.83, so maybe a little bit more of a move down there on the futures before we get potential support. We'll see.
That's interesting, Forsman. I didn't know that Vuzix would sometimes move with LiDAR. I know that what Vuzix does and what their products are, but I guess I didn't really think about their some of their integration with LiDAR into their glasses, because I think that's it's more of a smart glasses kind of thing, and I was kind of looking at through the lens of what Ray-Ban's been doing with Meta.
SPY rejection of yesterday's high.
Zach, that's great. What's the timeline on that? Because it's probably going to be years. But they're, it's great that they've, they're considering that, because it doesn't look like fossil fuels are really working out for them, because they seem to be so dependent upon it, and they don't have the infrastructure or oil fields for that, like the U.S. and some other countries do. All right, so SMX really coming in now.
Uber actually maybe flashing through 79 here.
YDDL, that one that was that popped and dropped, that's coming back up to where the initial move started to happen around the $8 area. So coming right back up to there.
Rooster mentioning Fly here. This is Firefly Aerospace. It does indeed look like it wants to test 25 and go higher here. One more thing. We've got earnings in 2 days here. So Thursday after hours. And here we go on LiDAR.
Yep. Right to that trend line through VWAP.
Volume's not expanding yet, but we're getting the move that we wanted here on LiDAR.
Yeah. Oh, yes. There we go.
There it is.
Take us through the trend line.
Here.
While you look at that, I'm going to look at ALDX that Forsman's bringing up here. Oh, man. So this must be a bounce play here. Let's see. Yeah, this one's not for me. I don't know that this is going to come back up. The news was kind of bad, wasn't it? Received complete response.
On which one?
This is ALDX. Lack of evidence for inconsistency of study results. So that's really bad news. I don't even know that I want to trade ALDX. Not off news like that. I mean, it could be some great bounce opportunity here, but man, that's cash gone that they're not going to get back.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. YDDL back up through the 65 and 200 EMAs.
Also, Jensen's live on CNBC, live from San Jose, so he's talking about something there.
Talking about something.
I mean, I can't hear it. And the Chiron or whatever that they use on CNBC, not informative.
We need a register ring for Tom. He nailed BIF.
Done. LIDR back down to VWAP. Starting to get the volume that we were hoping for, but it's not pushing away anymore. NVIDIA looks like it found its support. Parker, thank you for sending the video on the parabolic SAR yesterday. I'm actually going to take a look at that and see if I can't use some of your tips to figure out how to use that myself. Appreciate you sharing that. So 182, you think is the support for NVIDIA? We used this as support yesterday. Looks like we're doing it again.
NVIDIA still having trouble with that 20 and 50-day SMA. Since we lost that in February, Not able to recapture it. I think we could see another test of the 200-day SMA soon.
Amazon's a little bit higher here. VIX still holding 22. Bitcoin actually down 0.25%. So our risk on indicator not flashing all go signs here. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Ryan, take the dots off and just use the support and resistance lines. That's, I think, what I thought was the most intriguing from your video. When I had tried that before, I was focused on those dots. And like I was saying in the email, I couldn't really make sense of it. Couldn't really get it to work. But that's a good, anything that helps near-term support and resistance lines, generally speaking, that's a positive. I know I've been kind of all over the place. I haven't noticed any like large outsized buys here on the unusual options. Looks like we got another TSM put buy here, this 1.66 million. I recall us taking a look at one of those, I think last week, but I can't remember the deets on it.
LiDAR, still trying to push up here. We have a seller in the way at 230. If we have enough volume and take that out, we could see some of the highs we made in the regular session here.
Now we're still targeting that trend line here. It's about 10 cents higher than where we're at. And we did, I know it's not showing here on this chart, but that volume did pick up a little bit.
I think that's not how I drew the trend line, because you're using the regular session highs, and we drew it through the pre-market.
Oh, did I screw it up? 13.
Go back. You were on the right chart. So see that high at about 710. That's when we drew it through.
This one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did this then. Let me alter it. We did this, and we did break through that. Gotcha. Okay. Trey, this was a video that CW Parker sent me. He writes a lot of custom scripts. He had just sent me like a little quick video on one of his, I don't even think it's his indicator, just one of the indicators. CW Parker, I'd share that if it's okay, but I'm not going to share anything you don't give me permission to share.
Oklo getting some support, trying to pull itself back over the 65 EMA. Volume's not great. BIF still holding above the VWAP. I don't know how high this is going to go, but it's the fact that it's holding up here is a good sign. So
this is hilarious. Look where Oklo bounced. It bounced right off the top end of the fair value gap range. Now, I would not have felt great about a trade there, honestly. So I know I'm looking at it in hindsight here, and in hindsight, it actually looks like a decent bounce. In practice, I would have wanted to wait for more. I would have wanted to wait closer to 61, and we just didn't get that. So I don't feel like I missed it here, but interesting nonetheless. We'll see if we end up going back in there. Oscar, thank you. I appreciate the well wishes. Enjoyed as a kid. Well, you're in luck, because if there's one thing I'm really good at, it's enjoying things like a child. So I appreciate that. We will indeed enjoy that.
What's the volume looking like in the regular?
Yeah, it actually, I'm kind of looking at the volume here. Volume on the futures has really trickled down since the open. The same is true on the SPY. The one caveat there is we had a little bit of a volume bump on this recent bounce, but it was very short-lived. It sure seems like the volume is kind of drying up here. Now, and remember what I said at the beginning of the show. 13, you weren't here for it. But one of the things at the beginning of the show, I am anticipating kind of an uneventful week as a whole. Yes, we get the Fed decision or meeting minutes or whatever it is that's going to be valuable tomorrow. And maybe we see some on that tomorrow. But I wouldn't be surprised if you kind of saw some waiting today. And then again, Thursday and Friday, starting midday, that basketball tournament is going to suck the air out of this market. We've seen it the last 2 years in a row. I suspect the same thing this year. Judge, take care of yourself. Appreciate all of your support and positivity, man. You're one of my favorite follows on Twitter, because you're never putting out negative shit. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that.
Take care, Judge. I was just looking at some of the news, and we had pending home sales have a pretty decent print. But after, it seems like we got this pop on that news, and then immediately sold off with all these mortgage names. UWMC had that happen to it. Looks like Rocket to a lesser extent. But following the pop, these things have started to sell. Let me look at LDI, because that's another name here. LDI probably holding up the best, but that's been getting hammered too. So Looks like pending home sales gave a small trade, and then not a whole lot after that for now.
Tom, I have to learn more about the fair value. I think you said cap. I read it as crap, but I think you meant gap. So we got the whole gamut covered there. Here's what I would suggest. I will try and actually pull some links of some of my favorite YouTube videos, but fair value gaps, you can get a real quick and dirty explainer using YouTube right now. There's a ton of content about that. They do a really good job explaining it. Some people have different views of it. Looking at all of the different views, I always think is a positive. I'll try and pull some for you that I really like, but I don't think you can go wrong starting your investigation there on YouTube. Won't cost you a dime.
Circle is still holding up. Says C.W. Parker.
Circle's actually made a pretty good move.
Looks like you've got some. I don't know how much of this is tax selling, but it looks like there's been some insider selling here recently.
All right, 13. We are coming up to Anne Marie's segment here.
All right.
You got any closing words for the group on this just magnificent so far St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, it's been a very nice St. Patrick's Day. We had some good movement out of the gates, but it looks like the volume's going away here a little bit, but I don't know that I'd write the day off completely. Just keep an eye on what we end up getting after the lunch hour is over, see if some of that volume returns, and if you feel compelled to take a trade, just understand the risks that we have here today. But until tomorrow, folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Ryan, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I will see all of you tomorrow. Have a great time with Anne Marie. I'm sure she's going to have some really interesting options trades for y'all. But until then, I'll see you later. Goodbye.
All right, 13, really good stuff yet again. Have a great one. We will catch up with you again tomorrow. 13's departure leaves room for Anne Marie. Let's check in with her and see how she's doing. Anne Marie, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing really good too. We got the luck of the Irish flowing through the market here. We got green arrows all over the place. I am here for it. What do you have on deck for us here today? I have at least one idea for you.
Okay, great. I'm open to all of them.
Okay.
A couple of things. Let me remove my gum. I'll put that back in later. So I was looking at a couple of super interesting things yesterday in terms of unusual options. And very interestingly, Circle had the 108 put sitting there, and I could not tell whether it was a short or long, obviously. And so I'm guessing if it was short, they're feeling all right. And so here is something that I think would be pretty interesting for us if you're looking for maybe a quick trade to the north on any kind of pullback. And statistically, we moved from one earnings bar to the earnings bar before it. And so this is the next one we're after. 135 is the test there. And so how might we trade that? So a couple of different ways. Actually, I gave this to the Benzinga folks yesterday. We talked about the 125, 130, 140 call spread. Notice the bottom is way wider than the top, but it was only 7 cents. It's still cheap, a couple pennies, as it continues to move up into the range. And so easily a very interesting, worthwhile position. So the next thing I would say,
really quick here, Anne Marie, C.W. Parker says, Circle, I'm still in at 60. Wow. So you've got more than a double here. Anne Marie, I'm almost wondering, I hate to break your train of thought, but just given that one of our chat members here is up over 100% in this, is there any recommendation to maybe sell upside calls against this for booking gains or maybe even lowering the cost basis further?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the thing. how many times do we have the opportunity to see a chart move almost 150% in 4 weeks?
Not often. I feel like that's a mega
Yes,
move.
that is a very unusual move. And so here's what happens. When we have these kinds of moves, they will retrace. It's not a matter of if, they absolutely do, especially if the volume on the upside declines. And that is exactly what we are seeing. If I were you, listen, nobody wants to be told that, hey, your winner needs to be cut. Nobody wants to hear that. They want it to go to the moon. But look at what we're staring down right here at this price point, here at 127.50. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks testing that area before it collapsed. It collapsed. Who do you think is going to get out here? Everybody that was down here going, nope, it's going to hold. It is going to hold, and I'm moving up. It looks great. They're saying to themselves, listen, I just want to break even, and I'm out of here. Absolutely what is going to happen. In general, this is what happens to us. So let's take a look at some tighter structures and see if we're seeing anything that tells us, hey, watch out, this could be a topping. First thing is we're completely sideways on the rotation. And we have, where is our, wow, it's amazing how many of these instruments are trading from 1 a.m. Have you noticed this?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible how many of them are just trading through this zone. This 1 a.m. candle makes a difference. It tells us the introductory positioning of the traders through the course of the day. And it has a tendency to give us trend and direction. Notice, look at how much this faded in the early morning, collapsed straight down. If I use a Fibonacci, and then I double that Fibonacci again because it is such a tight range, we're going to move it all the way to the bottom here. And then we're going to do it one more time because everything is a measured move in the world these days. And you're going to see it come to the bottom of these ranges and then start holding and walking their way up. This is a very important area to hold. I would most definitely be selling calls against this. Listen, you got some great prices that you can sell these calls at because the vol is huge, right? You could make another 10% selling it essentially at the money. You could sell the 125. If you don't know how to do a calendar wheel, here's what happens. You sell the 125, you collect $1,235. Let's say it moves to 135 in the next week and it stays there. You simply buy it back and you go to May and you sell 130 and you collect some more premium. And you do it over and over and over again, and it reduces your cost basis to, I mean, if you got it at 60 and you sold the Aprils at 12, you'd be getting that, what is that, 4 and some change? But that is a topping formation right there.
Okay.
It is. It is
Right.
a topping formation.
I appreciate you kind of taking the walk with me there down that side road because this to me, CW Parker is in a position of strength, the catbird seat, as you like to say. And so what options do we have available to us? I appreciate that. I hope I didn't break your concentration.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's important to realize the magnitude of this move. Yes, earnings, obviously some kind of catalyst, and whatever else they said, right? I don't know how much of this chart is short interest, because look at this trend. I mean, this is a linear regression line. That trend has been negative since June of last year. And so buying it on this dip was pretty prescient for sure, but the size of the move has been incredibly dramatic.
Yeah,
It's been
and
very dramatic.
just to fill in the gaps here, Circle has 9.53% of its float shorted. Notably, this is actually down from 11.5, the prior print, which was effective at the end of February. So it looks like at least 2% of the open short interest has covered up now on this move higher.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised if this is a short covering event. Now,
Interesting.
the upper target is right here if it goes into that range. But there is and I'll use another Fibonacci, there's the region between the one earnings event and the other, and that 50% mark is right where we're sitting. There are a lot of things showing this to be a potential top on the horizon. So, which would be the reason you would initially say, hey, why don't I do something like, let me erase all of these because I've got them in the markers already. Why not look at something like April, but buy yourself a back ratio? And so the back ratio would look like this. If you think this chart is going to go to the moon, you've got $500 of risk. What does that mean? It goes to 130 and it never turns back. Then you've got the $500 of risk plus what you paid for it. Okay. But if this thing moves to 150 or 160, where the last earnings event is, you're going to pay that $500 easily, because you're going to be up, literally, you'll have the 130 call free and easy. And if it goes to 160, you'd be up $3,000. And so that clearly pays for the back ratio event. Not something that I normally push out, but it is a possibility with price actions that run. By the same token, if you're me and you're thinking, I actually think that this one is going to come back because it's moved so big, it's going to come back and test 100 again. That's the breakaway event, big fat round number. So my thought would be, hey, I'm going to sell the 25 and buy two of the 120s. It's going to cost me $5 again, $1,000 here. So this one is going to put me at break even just under 115, and then I've got $15, $20 more to go on the downside where I think it's going to run. So unusual, yes, but certainly worth it. The next thing that you could do with Circle is simply look at where, because the vol is so good, you could easily go and do an iron condor. Maybe you do the 100s because of where you think it's going to, and it gives you more than the $2 minimum that I like in this kind of space. If you're a gambling man and you're thinking, I think this is going to roll over, easily you can do the butterfly. 125, 115, 105. It's $1.63, but you want to get out when that 115 hits, because if it doesn't hold that 115 area, that 112 to 115 area, it is very likely to head down to 100. Very likely to head down to 100.
Okay, great breakdown there on Circle. CW Parker, thanks for sharing that. I know we were able to tie in some more strategy to that. Anne-Marie, may I suggest one?
Yes, please.
We got Lululemon earnings tonight.
Ooh.
And recently, what we've seen from some of the retailers is we've seen them pop on a good print and then faded away. And so I'm almost wondering here what the chart says and how you think Lulu is best played.
So very interesting. You know, Jeff Mackey did this thing, I think last quarter, and Jeff Mackey's a little bit crazy. I'm just
A
gonna
little
say.
bit crazy, but a must follow because his
Yeah.
drawings on his charts put me in stitches every time I see it.
He's truly a very unique guy.
Yeah, I'd like to meet him someday.
Yeah, he is from across the room. I'm okay. A little bit close, I'm going to be a little nervous because you never know what he's going to do. He's just got all kinds of antics going on. So that being said, he said actually it was 2 quarters ago, he said, jeans are back. And that means watch for spandex to fall. And that was 2 quarters ago, like about here. Now, obviously, it looked like he was wrong up here, but since the new year has started, we really are seeing this rotation. And you and I drew this formation at the last earnings event. We talked about this one at the last earnings event, and I said, here is the bottoming formation. Now take a look. What is the institutional ownership for Lulu?
Let me pull it up here real quick. Sorry, I should have had that prepared for you. Oh, overview. All right. Institutional ownership on Lulu, 77.03%.
Okay. So not bad, not extreme. So here is our potential earnings event beginning at the end of the day today, correct?
Yep. After hours today.
Right. So look at the floor here. There's a fair bit of buying that should be going on here. Let's go to a 30-minute chart and see if we see them moving anywhere structurally in this space. So yeah, they're moving off this edge pretty nicely above the prior day's high. Big spike up, and now we're here. I think we could do a buy event here. This is the one that I have right now. Let's see how that one's doing. Yeah, it's all right. It's doing okay. So I have this iron condor here. It's given it a lot of room to the upside, not a lot to the downside, because I think we're near the floor. So if you're saying, hey, what could this do? I would anticipate that we've got ourselves a pretty solid bounce action that really, I think people who've been holding the bag are going to want to look at it into the front line of resistance, and that's going to be the prior earnings event. That's up at 180. And so I would not be surprised to see a bounce into prior resistance. That gives us 170. So we could do the 170, 180, 190. It's expensive. It's $1.27, but it really does move right in line with what the price action is saying. Now, you could do the same thing with a ratio spread. You could sell that 175 and buy 2 of the 180s. $3. It's going to give you, you'd need to be up over 188 for this one to hold and start printing cash. But to me, it seems like that's literally where it's going to try and head. And the 50% mark between the structures is really what we normally see. From one earnings candle to the next, we divide that in half, and it gives us sort of the halfway point for us to look at. And that looks like 170, 172. So that would be the trade I would take. If you're saying, gosh, I would like for it to be cheaper, I mean, it is what it is right there. You could say, hey, I'm just going to make my spread a little bit tighter or move it down a little bit further. But at the end of the day, well, those guys are about the same. Their delta is pretty similar. I would say this is the space. If you're a real gambling man and you're thinking about, hey, I'm just going to take it to quad witching, which, yeah, this is a big expiration event. It's a lot of things are going to get unhinged over the weekend. So that one will be important to watch. So if we do the 170, 180, 190 here, it's, a little bit more expensive because of the vol.
Yeah, and I'm almost wondering with 3 days left there, that's going to have to work immediately, or
Oh,
that's
it
going to be a
is.
zero.
It's going to
yeah.
be spring loaded. You've got to have a spring loaded event, right? And of course, if you want to use the Iron Condor to help you have it pay for some of the stuff you're trying to do on the inside there, you could win with both of these. The Iron Condor could completely
Gotcha.
win, and the call spread could completely win. So, I mean, that certainly is what I would look at. And I'm going to take a snapshot of this because I like it.
I was going to say, I kind of like that too. Okay, awesome. Will you do me a favor and post that either in Pro or Slack that to me?
Sure, absolutely.
that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things that I am looking at in the near term is energy. I want to see, what energy's doing. And today is largely, a risk off day. It looks pretty good overall. Some of the orders that Boeing has agreed to fulfill across the pond, I just not happy with. But in any case, moving on. I think alternative energy is something that if fuel and oil continues to rise under the current regime that we are sitting in, I suspect they start rotating into alternative energies.
Okay.
And so, we could see if the tan has had a dip yet, right? And it's had a dip, it's begun to rise. And this is my thought. My thought is they're going to start looking at alternative energies because the current energies we have are quite expensive. And so that actually also puts
For use.
Something interesting here from a uranium perspective. This one's not lifting yet. So it'd need to get up and over this earnings event. It's sitting right in here, but tan definitely is on the move. And so structurally, we could look at that and go, all right, well, let's look at First Solar. And so First Solar is sitting in a pretty important space. This is the wave from the last high before this one to the low. And so it's sitting right at this 50% range. My suspicion is that it holds with the floor round at about 78. So what would I do there? Why not have an Iron Condor, in terms of giving us flows where we say, hey, I think, it could give me a little bit of premium here.
Oh, one more thing for the solar theme here. This comes from 13. Solar could move on rebuilding of some of the solar farms that were recently destroyed by winds and tornadoes here in the Midwest. We saw a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I know a lot of people got their power out for days and days too. Yeah, I like I like the idea that the rotation is going to be important. And so, this makes sense. Now, did these guys report before the open or after the close? Do we
This
remember?
is First Solar that you're asking about, correct?
Yes, several weeks ago it was aftermarket. Okay, so this is the actual earnings candle that we are looking
Yeah.
at, and we're just caught right in the middle of it. It's got a lot of downward pressure, so we could have a flush before the rise, but I don't see energy getting cheaper. I don't. And so this one might be one where you go, what if I did something like a leap? And I said, listen, I'm going to give it enough time. I know the midterms start heating up by September.
Yep.
Oh, wait, let's see what seasonality says for First Solar. Oh no, wait. What a knucklehead. Hang on.
It looks flat to me here going into April, but maybe there's some more on that. Let's see here.
Yeah, it is a bit flat-ish. Let's take a look at see if TradeWave has anything a little bit more.
It looks like it starts to turn up at the end of May. So I'd be curious to see what TradeWave says about that.
Okay, let's do it. Let's look at TradeWave, and then let's. Oh,
the infinity mirror.
Yeah. Dang it. All right, let's go TradeWave. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I know. I picked the wrong one. I'm such a doofus. Lord, it's a good thing I don't have to do hand-eye coordination things because I'd be in trouble. All right, so let's look at FSLR. Oh, sorry, because that's in the ETF, so I don't want to do that. Let's go. Are they in the Russell or the Dow? Let's see. They're not in the Dow. Of course, they're not in the Dow. Okay, so yeah, that looks pretty sideways into the next earnings space in general, and it's got a pretty solid dip in May. I'm seeing this dip all over the place.
Yeah.
This one in May, we really want to.
Yeah, see, I see a dip in April and then another one at the start of May, but at the end of the May, I have it kind of coming back. But interestingly enough, okay.
Yeah. So my thought, if we look at the yearly projection, it's generally flat, but it's been sitting in a regime that is super super noisy in general. We can see the peak areas are into December. So you know what? Nothing wrong with a leap. Nothing wrong with saying, hey, let me go to December and take a look at this. Maybe what I want to do is anticipate a rotation higher back into 250 where it was and all the way back up into 270. So let's see how much that would be. 250. Look, we've already got a ton of open interest here. 250, 270, 290, 73 cents. I like this one.
Okay.
I do. I like it. Yes, you're going to have to sit on it for a while. You buy one of them. If it gets cheaper, buy another one. And then, expose yourself to maybe $200, $250 of risk, and then let it go to work. See if it can work for you.
Yeah, give yourself some time. I like the thesis there too, because as we get closer to the midterms, I have no doubt, no matter what's happening, energy is going to be on the docket, and talk about renewable versus fossil and all of that is going to be a key part of this whole thing. So
definitely. And since statistically speaking, the incumbent normally loses in general, his party loses in the midterm, then we've got this alternative energy thing that
Yeah.
normally runs with the other party. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And that could be kind of like a theme wide thing too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Uh,
Emery, we got less than 2 minutes here.
Oh.
Anything you can recap quickly here? I don't know if we've got time for a full trade here.
yeah, no, here's my thing. Force buy, and let's look at the 30-minute chart. From the daily, you can see we're trying to hold the 200. I know you've been talking about that
Yeah.
with the folks.
Yep.
So we know they desperately want to hold it. Interestingly, folks, the 4 a.m. candlestick, if you look at the 4 a.m. candlestick from the chart, if this 4 a.m. candlestick really, if we hold above it, price action moves and it moves into prior areas of importance. And so we are trying to lift. We do have a little bit of a sideways linear regression event. I just want you to be careful not to assume that price action is going to be rocketing to the north or coming way back to the south, because the cross currents are extraordinary. Just manage your risk.
Yeah, they really are, and that's good advice. That's good advice today and every day, it turns out, Anne Marie. So we will absolutely take that here. Look, thanks for joining us here today. We are out of time. We're available on Friday. We'll have you back here on Friday to close out the week. Okay, great. We'll see if we're in low volume, and we'll see if the Fed gives us any plays. Anne Marie, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. See you, everybody.
All right, that is Anne Marie Baiynd, folks. That'll do it here for today. We are all set. Thanks, everybody, for the encouragement, the support, and the well wishes here today. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you tomorrow.